effective unless perpetrators of these kinds of threats are at a nation state level or at a cyber criminal level from outside the state. It's unlikely that they'll be able to guard their tracks too effectively.
A 38-year-old man arrested in Strabane yesterday has been charged to court for assault on police. He was arrested in the Railway Street area and is also facing charges of disorderly behaviour. He's expected to appear before Strabane Magistrates Court on Thursday, the 25th of September. Meanwhile, a 25-year-old man who was arrested by detectives in Derry investigating an aggravated burglary in London Street yesterday has been released on bail to allow for further inquiries to be carried out. Police searching for a missing 15-year-old from Derry say they're concerned. Whitney McDonough was last seen in the Coolmore area of the city at approximately 9:30 on Saturday evening. It's believed she was going into the city centre. Whitney was last seen wearing a royal blue jumper, light bleached jeans and high-top Converse trainers. Those who believe they have information on her whereabouts is asked to contact police. Looking now to the weather forecast, there'll be widespread showers today along with occasional sunshine. The showers will be heavy at times. Highest temperatures of 14 to 16 degrees with moderate west to southwest winds. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
Every year, about 2,500 people in Ireland get bowel cancer. Bowel screening helps to reduce your risk of developing it. If you're aged 59 to 70, register for a free bowel screen test kit. Once you've done the test at home, return it by free post and we'll test your sample. If you need follow-up tests, we'll let you know. Register today at bowelscreen.ie or free phone 1-800 45 45 55 from the HSE.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to a brand new week of the 9 to Noon Show here in Highland Radio. And as you heard from Lee there, it's a busy one for loads of different reasons. We are here now over the next 3 hours, hopefully to keep you informed and entertained. And we want you involved in the conversation as well. Get involved. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. Now, maybe something occurred over the weekend that you think we should know about. Maybe you had a very nice experience or an act of kindness or good news as well. We're more than happy to hear that. 086 60 25,000. If you prefer to give us a call, you can ring Caroline or Katie on 07491 25,000 and email comments at highlandradio.com. So the Donegal Camino's underway. And we'll be joining it, as we heard from Lee there, on Thursday. It's an early start Thursday morning as we do the Ironmore Loop, 16 kilometres. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully the weather plays ball, but Ironmore's so beautiful. You just have the right clothes on and it doesn't really matter what the weather's like, does it? So we're looking forward to that. And we're also heading to London on Saturday. We've got a great show for you lined up on Sunday morning. We're doing it as we would any outside broadcast here. It's just going to be loads of chat, conversation, live music, get a sense of what people are doing over in London. If you're about London and you're heading along, get in touch with us. We'd love to chat to you to hear how you're getting on there. But as I say, we've got loads of great guests lined up, and that's going to be a great show. That's on Sunday between 12 and 2. On Thursday, I'll be coming in and out of this show. I think Michaela's in the hot seat on Thursday. I'll be coming in and out of it, chatting to people from Ironmore Island as we do the Camino. So it's all to raise money for Cancer Care West, particularly the Letterkenny office here. The amazing work that they do. It raises superb amounts of funds every year. I think they're well into the 70s now this year. That money is invaluable to keep going, to keep the work going. And as I say, we'll be hooking in with the Camino a little later on in this hour just to get a sense of what's going on. It's been it's hugely popular every year, but there's only a few spaces left on a couple of the walks. That's the level of interest there is in relation to it. And as Lee mentioned as well, we've got 10 grand to give away on Friday. That's going to be exciting to make someone's day. That would make my month, to be honest with you, if not my quarter. And Lee's also going to have 2.5 grand to give away in his breakfast show. I'll tell you more about that a little later on. Let's get to the newspapers this Monday morning. It's the 1st of September. Summer is over. I've been saying that since mid-July, but it is the 1st of September and it feels like, right, we're into the I think everyone is almost back at school, bar the young kids at Little Angels, they have to wait till Thursday. But more generally, I think everyone's pretty much back at school now, are they? Most schools are open, and the traffic's changed and all that kind of stuff. And the weather, it's played its role in changing as well. The front of the Derry People Donegal News is a picture of, I was going to say it's an iconic picture of Ollie Horgan, but every picture taken of him on the sideline in one form or other is iconic because he's got such a character-rich face. The headline, Ollie Horgan, one of a kind, family and friends, former teaching colleagues and those whose lives were touched by Ollie Horgan will pay an emotional farewell today as his funeral takes place this lunchtime in his native Galway. And you can be sure it's going to be incredibly well attended. Such was his impact in the world of education, but the world of sport. And when you're really good in sport, your reputation goes beyond sort of your own club or whatever club you've been at. People in sport recognise what you've got. And I'm sure even the likes of a Jim McGuinness or whatever would look on and say, yeah, Ollie Horgan had something there. He had a Midas touch with what he had available to him, if that makes sense. The Derry News this morning, a man has suffered serious injuries after he was reportedly attacked by a group of 9 masked men in Derry. Police were appealing for information after the assault, which occurred at about midnight on Friday. Inspector O'Donnell said, we received a report from our colleague at Northern Ireland Ambulance Services that a man had sustained serious injuries in the Waterloo Street area. And you can get more details of that appeal on the front of it inside that paper today. On to the Nationals, and I'm sorry, some of you just don't want me to be reading about the presidential election, but it's kind of hotting up, you see, and there's a bit of friction within Fianna Fáil over who's going to get the nod. They're described as tensions because Taoiseach Micheál Martin really quite quickly came out and backed Jim Gavin, even though a very popular member of his party is also seeking a nomination. Reading on here, tensions are rising in Fianna Fáil with Taoiseach Micheál Martin getting pushback from TDs over his plans to make Jim Gavin the party's presidential candidate. As Mr Martin hit the phones throughout Saturday trying to nail down support for the former Dublin football manager, some calls with backbenchers were described as tetchy. One conversation has been characterised as highly charged when the TD challenged the leader's logic in backing the former Donegal GAA manager over long-standing politician and Ireland South MEP Billy Kelleher. Mr Kelleher's campaign got a major boost on Saturday with the public support of Dublin MEP Barry Andrews, who described him as leading pro-choice voice during the referendum to repeal the 8th Amendment, who has also stood up for the defence of Ukraine and justice in Palestine. With supporters of Mr Kelleher holding firm against pressure from the leadership, Mr Martin has a battle on his hands. So I'm not really quite sure as of yet. We'll try and get a sense of who the two local TDs would be backing, Pat the Cope Gallagher and Charlie McConnell Ogue. So we'll make the appropriate calls to see if they're publicly stating who they are going to be backing. But maybe you're a rank and file Fianna Fáil member, as they say. Would you prefer Jim Gavin, or do you think Mr Kelleher, with his stance on certain issues and his reputation and of course his work within the party, would you prefer him to get the nod? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. There is a vacancy still in terms of a bishop in this area, a Catholic bishop in this area. And I do wonder if this story might indicate that will a bishop ever actually be appointed? I don't know. It is only speculation because we don't know the details. But anyway, what is a fact? The Catholic Church in Ireland will downsize with fewer dioceses and fewer bishops on the orders of Pope Leo. Speaking at his home in Archioli, very, very poor at pronouncing that. I'm very, very sorry. In the grounds of St Patrick's Cathedral, Armagh, Archbishop Eamon Martin, Primate of All Ireland, told the Irish Daily Mail that a few months before Cardinal Robert Prevost was elected Pope in May, he met with all 4 Irish archbishops. The meeting took place in Rome in February when Cardinal Prevost was the head of the diocese for the dicastery for bishops, effectively the Vatican's Department for Bishops and Dioceses. Archbishop Martin believes that on foot of those discussions, the new Pope has definite ideas of changes required for the Church in Ireland. I do think that Pope Leo is going to call the Irish Church in some way, going to page 4 here, in some way re-examine its structures to look at the potential for amalgamation of dioceses to see where that might serve the mission of the church, Archbishop Martin said in a wide-ranging interview. Because if we become a church of maintenance and monuments, we're not a church of mission. So Pope says we have too many bishops. It doesn't really quite say that in the quotes, but anyway, I do wonder what it means for local dioceses and I suppose local vacancies in relation to bishops. On to the Irish Times this morning, and it's possible that Irish troops will end up in Ukraine. This is if there's ever peace found there. I think Vladimir Putin has been playing Donald Trump. Actually, interesting, Donald Trump, where is he? There's an awful lot of speculation as to his health and well-being, because Donald Trump would be he would be very active in the public eye. He's often engaging with the media. You'd see him out and about. He'd even do interviews before getting on his plane and off his plane. But he hasn't really spoken to the media now for 5 or 6 days. And it's starting to raise some questions. This is the longest he's been absent from press conferences and what have you. Now, obviously, as is the way online, lots of people speculating, where's Trump? There must be something up with Trump. What's the story with Trump's health? The exact same way they did with Joe Biden. And the White House has released a couple of pictures which are kind of controversial because the pictures do appear to be from a couple of weeks ago. Now, that is yet to be confirmed, but they don't appear to be brand new pictures. So a lot of people are wondering, what is the story with Donald Trump? Is his medical condition that he has more severe? There's some suggestion that he might be prone to many strokes and perhaps maybe he's suffering from one of the larger ones, which he would come back from. But as I say, he might be healthy and hearty, and I would hope any human being is. But it is very unusual for him to not engage with the media for 5 or 6 days. His son also very, very active on social media. He hasn't posted anything for 3 days. But anyway, be that as it may, we'll see. Normally these things turn out to be nothing, don't they? But there's a lot of speculation out there, so I thought I'd reference it. Irish troops could be part of a peacekeeping force in Ukraine after the end of the war with Russia. Minister for Foreign Affairs and Defence Simon Harris has indicated the prospects for the the security situation after the end of the war in Ukraine were discussed by European Union ministers this weekend in Copenhagen at an informal summit hosted by the Danish EU presidency. For right or wrong, I'm really have been trying to resist getting reading glasses. I just have this theory. This is not advice. I just think once you start using them, you get periods of time where you've got eye strain, your eyes are a bit tired. Normally reading is not a problem for me, and it still isn't. But I'm reading through these newspapers now, and I'm telling you, there's a few words, and I'm like, I'm kind of having to rely on my mind to fill in the words. I think at my ripe old age, it might be time to give in to reading glasses. I'll have to think about it, but we're getting there. I think we're getting there, folks. It could be a shady start to the start of September. The Irish Daily Star this morning, lack of motivation, stress and a concern about health checks are too expensive, are stopping Irish women from protecting their heart health, new figures have suggested. The high cost of healthy foods and gym membership are also creating barriers to living a healthy lifestyle, Irish Heart Foundation research said. The Ipsos B&A research for the charity's Her Heart Matters campaign reveals only 13% of females correctly think they are more likely to be diagnosed with heart disease and stroke than breast cancer. That's 66%. That's despite the former condition killing 6 times as many women as breast cancer. So women are hyper conscious of breast cancer, and rightly so. And they believe that might be a greater threat to them than heart health. But the fact of the matter, that is not the case. Janice Morrissey, the Irish Heart Foundation's Director of Health Promotion, said, "What we are asking women to do is to take stock of where they are and understand what factors impact their health. Even one small change can make a huge difference." So women, do you have a lack of motivation? Are you stressed? Or do you have a concern over the cost of health checks? gym membership, is that a barrier? Like, would you like to get more healthy, but these are things that are affecting you? Does it resonate with you that you might be far more worried about, getting breast cancer than suffering from heart disease and stroke, even though heart disease and stroke are more common in women than breast cancer in terms of the loss of life? So let us know. 086 60 25,000. I think we have this notion that fellas are really, really bad at going to the GP and looking after themselves, which I know that's a blanket statement, and I know it's not fully accurate. But anyway, the sense is that women are really good at this, but maybe they're not, and we need to shift the dial on that. What's your view of an Irish armada of aid ships setting sail from Spain to break Israel's blockade of Gaza? Well, it's not going to break Israel's blockade of Gaza. They won't even get within sight of Gaza before they're turned around. This is reported in the Irish Daily Mirror. The Global Summit Flotilla left Barcelona carrying food, water and medicine. Activists on board, including Greta Thunberg, demanded safe passage and the opening of a humanitarian sea corridor. The maritime convoy of about 20 vessels and a delegation from 44 countries is thought to be the largest attempt to date to break the Israeli blockade of the Gaza Strip by sea, which has now lasted 18 years. They will be joined by more ships from ports in Italy and Tunisia. As a pre-departure press conference, Irish actor Liam Cunningham played a clip of a Palestinian child named Fatima singing a song she wanted played at her funeral. She was killed in Gaza 4 days ago. He said, "What sort of a world have we slid into? What sort of a human hole have we found ourselves in when children, beautiful angels, are making their own funeral arrangements?" It's absolutely horrendous, and anything I think to do that can be done to try and ease that situation needs to be done. I do wonder sometimes why we don't pay as much attention to other parts of the world where children, as innocent as Gazan children, are also suffering the same fate. But celebrity seem to be very interested in what's happening in Gaza. I did note as well too, by the way, and this is not to take away from what they're doing, there have been a couple of sort of high-profile Irish influencers who have been very pro-Palestine, and I do know a couple of them took glamping from Coca-Cola, a very Israeli intertwined company for electric picnics. So on one hand, very critical of what's happening in Palestine. On the other, content with the comfy glamping sponsored by Coca-Cola. Finally, a new list of storm names, including a nod to Irish author Bram Stoker, have been revealed. Met Éireann called on citizens to submit their preferred names through a social media campaign. More than 10,000 names were received from 4,137 members of the public. Names chosen for 2025-2026 by Met Éireann include, and I'll get to them in a moment, what's it like being a storm named after you? That is something I've never had, not in my memory. Is it good crack? Is it a nightmare? Is it nothing? But anyway, Brian's in there to honour the renowned Irish writer of Dracula. Bram's in there. There's the glasses again. Fionnuala. It's a bit late for Fionnuala now. Fionnuala's obviously still very much involved in Highland Radio. She's not here on a day-to-day basis, but Storm Fionnuala could be on the way. Gerard, Cassia, Marty, Patrick, Storm Patrick, that sounds about right, and Tig also got the Irish nod. So those are the Irish names submitted. Bram, Fionnuala, Gerard, Cassia, Marty, Patrick and Tig. So those are one of your names, and there's a storm coming. You're in for a bit of an old slagging on your social media, I doubt. Okay, that was a run through some of the stories making the papers today. We'll be back shortly.
Anything that collects water can be a drowning danger for young children. Drowning can happen silently and in just a small amount of water. Always empty and safely store away buckets, basins and other things that collect water when you're done with them. Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House, Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €1,450 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot tonight at 8:30.
Starting to think about what's next? Then don't miss Ulster University's Open Days this September. Visit us in Derry, Londonderry, Coleraine and Belfast to find out where a degree from Ulster could take you. Ulster combines a fantastic student experience with a focus on your future career. That's why we're named the UK and Ireland University of the Year 2024 by Times Higher Education Awards. Register now at ulster.ac.uk/open days.
I'm Fionnuala Fibre O'Farrell Flynn, racing across the country to keep up with NBI's fibre rollout. Over 50 broadband providers are using NBI's network to bring high-speed fibre broadband to homes across Ireland. So from Ballyliffin to Ballybuffet, homeowners can pick whatever package suits their needs and still get all the benefits of rural Ireland's dedicated fibre broadband network. Connect at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Another connection. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have worn heels.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Okay, the time now, 24 minutes past 8. Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Greg posed the question, Kelleher O'Gavin as candidate for Fianna Fáil in the presidential race. I would say neither when you look at the way this government is running the country. Any candidate that has links with Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael or Sinn Féin, no thanks. But, obviously, that they would be, this is selecting them as a candidate, not necessarily selecting them as president. That'll be your decision. So we're only talking about the internal, efforts to find a candidate for that party in particular. Hi, Greg. Denmark left-wing government has solved the immigration crisis. Will Ireland copy? Your sound levels are all over the place, especially the news internet feed here. There is something called an optimod, I believe it is, that sort of regulates sound for the radio. It doesn't always, it doesn't actually do it for online. So I'll have a look at that and see what the crack is. The traffic lights in Downings on Saturday morning were not working. They were both orange. I worked for the HSE, and when I went to the road at 7 a.m. the next morning, the traffic lights were turned the opposite way, and the cones that are usually uniform on the Strand Road were strewn across the road. People were obviously messing with the cones. It's extremely dangerous, and people need to be fixing them in the morning. Of course, that must be the ongoing works to provide a walking path. It'll be interesting to see when that's finished and how many people use it. Right, okay, let's go to the picket line. Sharon Ward is the secretary at St Mary's National School, Mallinhead. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing fine. Good morning. Right, now, you're 12 years at St Mary's National School, and you are affected, aren't you, by this unfair treatment of workers doing the same job. So I suppose in your words, you know, what's wrong, what needs to be fixed?
Well, all we are looking for is equality with the SNAs and the teachers in the school. Like, what people may not understand is some people think that maybe what we do is we answer phones and emails, but in reality, the work of the secretary in the school is we do the accounts, we do the year ends, the administration, we're PA to the principals, we do the procurement, we pay the wages, we do an awful lot, plus the 200 other small jobs that ensure the day-to-day running of the school, so that the teachers and the principals are able to spend their time teaching, and we take as much pressure off them as we possibly can. And what we're doing now goes against everything that we want. We want to be in work. We want to be doing our job and helping the students settle back into school. But we have fought for this for so long, just to be treated fairly, to get a pension for the service that we provide. And in some cases, secretaries and caretakers have 20 or 30 years service. And we just want a pension for the service that we provide and in the years that we've worked in the school.
Yeah, I think it's important to get out there the work that school secretaries and caretakers do, because, you know, sometimes I think, you know, maybe the state, if they're resisting it, perhaps are relying on the fact that the public don't really think secretaries work that hard or do that much. Now, I know from years in this seat that that's not the case, but I think sometimes it suits the Department of Education if people don't really understand how involved the job of a secretary is.
Yes, it really is. Like what we do, it just helps every day the teachers and the principals to do their job. The most important job is in the school is to educate the children. And we are there. We're the front line. Anybody comes into the school meets us first, and we do the enrolment. It's just the front. It's the front line in the school is what they say. We're the first parents.
Yeah, I'm just bringing you in here, Amanda Kelly. That's Amanda's voice you just heard, secretary on our Bria National School, Malin. Sorry, Amanda, you were going to say there.
We're the first point of contact the parents meet, so we're the face of the school, and we just want parity with our other colleagues, our SNAs, teachers.
What kind of support have you been getting? Because I think there might have been a hope, if not an expectation, that maybe the government might have used the weekend to sort of sit down and try and thrash something out. So, I'll start with that question. How disappointed are you that there's been no movement over the weekend?
It's very disappointing.
Yeah.
We were hoping as well to have a resolution by this time, and hoping to just be back at work now.
And
But there's been nothing. There's no talks. There's nothing at the minute. The department have done. They were in a meeting last week with the WRC and our colleagues in the union, and there was no agreement reached at all.
And you are prepared to strike for as long as it takes?
We're going to do it as long as it takes. Now we're here for the long haul. Unfortunately, it's not what we want. We want to be back at work, but we have to stand up. We have to stand our ground now till this is resolved.
I just want to bring this question in. I cannot understand the argument for these pension rights. They now expect the same pension rights as those who did 5 years at university to get qualified. Now, there are people doing the exact same job. I don't know what the qualifications are, but there are people doing your exact same job employed by the Department of Education that have all of these rights. So I think most people might think it's fair that people doing the same job receive the same level of remuneration and advantages, i.e. a pension.
We just want to be on parity with the other school secretaries that are getting the pension. It's an equal parity. Like, we're in the schools, we're all paid by the department. The SNAs, the teachers get their critical illness leave, their bereavement leave, and their pensions. We don't get any of that, and we just want parity.
Amanda, this works if the work that you do isn't actually being done as well, so to speak. Are you satisfied that, obviously it's up to the Department of Education to do what they need to do, but, you don't want necessarily teachers doing your work, even if they could, or what have you. What is the situation in that regard, like payroll processing and all that kind of stuff?
We've been advised that the INTO have said that they have advised their members not to do our work while we're on strike. In regards to payroll and that, what?
The principals are allowed to do to do the payroll, to pay the main, like the But in the majority, we have the support of the principals and the teachers and the staff, and they will not be doing our work in the school. No. Like, the support that we've got from our colleagues has been amazing, and the parents. We're so grateful for that support, because they understand the work we do, and we are so grateful for that. And even on the picket lines, the parents have been talking to us and saying how much that they understand what we do, and they just want us to get what we're entitled to, which is fantastic.
All right, what school are you? Sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
We don't want the strike to impact other people's pay or affect other areas of school or the children or that. We just want to get a resolution.
I know you don't want to, but that's what your role is to make everybody's life not easier, but I get where you're coming from, and that's the human coming out in you. But at the same time, if people don't recognise what it's like when you're not there, and trust other people aren't going to take on your workload for any long periods of time either. What you're out at the moment? Hopefully, getting good bibs from the public there, are you? And what have you?
Yeah.
All right.
We're very rural here at the minute in Mallinhead. There's not that much traffic, unfortunately, but we're out and the traffic that is going past are supporting us, which is great. It just goes against everything that we do in our role to be standing out here. It's not so hard. No, we want to be in work, we want to be doing our job, but unfortunately it's got to this stage and we're going to be here for the long haul.
All right, listen, thank you so very much, both of you, for joining me. I do appreciate your time. That was Sharon Ward and Amanda Kelly. They are two school secretaries. Sharon Ward's been at her school for 12 years. Amanda has been at hers for 13 years. And they just want parity with secretaries in other schools that are employed directly by the Department of Education. And they get entitlements like holiday pay and over the summer and pension entitlements. It's the same with the caretakers as well. Some of them, caretakers and secretaries, are employed directly by the Department of Education. Others are employed by the school board with money from the Department of Education, but because of them being employed in a different way, it means they don't have the same entitlement as SNAs or the secretaries and caretakers. I'll just read this comment in its entirety. I cannot understand the argument for these pensions rights. They now expect the same pension right as those who did 5 years at university to get qualified. Surely, if I had the same benefits as the teachers, I won't bother with the university degree. So I presume you're pitching the secretaries and caretakers there against an SNA, for an example. I'm not sure of the wage structures, but your pension entitlements and what have you, or whatever you might get paid on holidays, would be in your pay scale. So they're not looking for the equal pay to SNAs if their pay is greater, or equal rights if their rights are greater. They're looking for pay, holiday pay, and pension rights in line with their pay income, if you know what I mean, their pay structure, which is, for most people, I don't think would be seen as incredibly unreasonable, but maybe you think they're greedy or something. That's fine if that's your view. 08660 25,000.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
Attention students, TFI Local Link bus services, available nationwide, can connect you to a wide range of colleges all year round. Save up to 50% on cash fares when you use your TFI Young Adult or Student Leap Card. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
With TUI, there's more choice than you think. Beach days or a city break. Weekend in Rome? Booked. Fly from your local airport? Of course. Just a hotel? Got them too. Number of nights? Take your pick. Tailor your trip with more options and more choice. TUI. Live happy.
The 5th annual Donegal Camino takes place from Sunday the 31st of August to Saturday the 6th of September 2025. I'll be taking part in day 5 of the Camino with the Arranmore Loop Walk on Thursday the 4th of September. It's a 16-kilometre walk and I'll be doing live links from beautiful Arranmore. Last year, the Donegal Camino raised an impressive €122,000, a record-breaking sum. They're hoping to surpass that amount again this year with your help. You can donate at idonate.ie/event/Donegal Camino 25, with all proceeds in aid of Cancer Care West, who provide amazing services to cancer patients and their families.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
Right, we're joined on the programme now by Councillor Fionnán Bradley, and it's in the context of a statement put out by Buncrana Tidy Towns, the Buncrana Tidy Towns initiative, and it said, "Dear Buncrana, it's been a long, hard summer for us this year. Losing the road sweeper more than tripled the work for us, with many volunteers litter picking 3 to 4 days a week, as well as working on other projects. Rewarding as this work is, it's also exhausting, as we all also have jobs, families and busy lives. Judging for the competition should now be complete, and we will no longer be maintaining the same level of work and will be stopping the street cleans for the foreseeable future. Donegal County Council has been working in the background to provide another service, but to no avail. We would ask that all private citizens and businesses please look after their own area, litter, pick weed and scrape the paths outside of their facades. And if you could highlight this issue to the local councillors until this issue is resolved. Fianna Fáil councillor Fionnán Bradley, Lascam Corla of Donegal County Council, joins us. I mean, what's happened here? Is it a case that Donegal County Council's pulled the pin on the sweeper because they say, sure, look, those volunteers at Buncrana are doing this anyway, why should we be spending the money?
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners. And at the outset, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come on this morning and to speak in relation to this issue, because it's been a very topical issue in and around Buncrana for a number of months now at this point. So, look, to answer your question, Greg, no, it absolutely is not the case that Donegal County Council have just decided to pull the pin and pull the service. And if you would bear with me, I would give you a very brief synopsis of what has happened since roughly the month of May. So at that point, the council had put out for a tendering process for a sweep of Buncrana on 4 mornings in the week. So before that, it had been done for 3 mornings in the week. And when the tendering process was up, following consultation with the tidy towns, it was felt that we would try and increase that service to 4 days. To the best of my knowledge, there are only 2 service providers in the county who are able to provide a street sweeping service. And very unfortunately, for reasons unknown to me, neither of those service providers offered a tender application while this process was ongoing, and indeed when it came to its conclusion. So that left the council in a sticky wicket, you might say, because no service provider, no contractor had put in a tender to provide this service, and the council doesn't own its own street sweeping machine. So in the absence of that, what has happened is a contractor has been appointed now to, you might say, manually do that work. So on 3 mornings a week, there were 3 sweeps in the week. Now on 3 mornings in the week, a contractor goes round and empties the bins on the main street and manually collects the litter with pickers and with bags and shovels and whatever else. Now, at the very outset of this, way back in the month of May, there was a meeting held between the road section of the council, the Buncrana councillors and the tidy towns. And at that meeting, given that we don't have our own street sweeper, I had proposed that the council should buy a machine. And you might recall that I had brought forward a motion at the following meeting in Lifford, the following council meeting, for the provision of our own services in-house, or basic services like our street sweeping and the like of it. And I'm very, very pleased to confirm that a machine is being bought. The machine is known as a Billy Goat, and it's actually in transit at the minute to the company that the council is buying it off. And it's hoped that that machine will be in Buncrana, please God, by the middle of September, and hopefully no later than that. But there have been delays now with the order of it. So that's a very brief synopsis, Greg, of the situation.
Okay, so where we're at now, are you saying a street sweeping machine has been acquired and will be on the streets of Buncrana how many days a week?
No, sorry, to be perfectly clear, this machine that's known as a Billy Goat isn't a street sweeper in the sense of the machine that would previously have swept the road through Buncrana, the main streets, etc. It's a machine that will be able to be used on the footpath. It's a machine that there's a suction element to it, obviously, so it'll be able to gather cigarette butts, broken glass, small pieces of rubbish, and the like of that.
And who runs that? Who will drive that, and how often will it be out? I see it now. It's a big vacuum cleaner, really. Who will push? Who will steer that around the streets of Buncrana, and how often?
That machine will be used, I believe, by the contractor who is now doing the cleaning of the street manually. So it'll be a council-provided service, the use of that Billy Goat on the streets of Buncrana to clean the broken glass, the cigarette butts and the small pieces of waste and litter that can't really be manually collected, because it's too fidgety or whatever to be left in such small pieces by hand. It's just virtually impossible.
Okay, so the funding will be there then to employ this private company to do this work. That the council has said that funding is perpetual, year after year after year.
Yes, yeah, and look, I want to be perfectly clear because there is what I would call confusion, mass confusion around the issue of the budget and funding. I can confirm right now to you, Greg, that the funding for the street sweeping service in Buncrana in 2024 was exactly the same as it was in 2025. So not one single euro was lost from last year to this year. Now, I'll subvent that by saying there was a difference last year because there was an issue with the costs for the contractor who was providing that service, and obviously with inflation and all the rest of it, everybody's costs had gone up and outgoings had gone up. So what happened last year was the three Buncrana councillors that were there, which is Councillor Murray and former councillors Donaghy and Crossan, subvented the street sweeping service with money from their minor infrastructure fund, and the council road section also put in money that was going to be used for filling potholes and tarring roads,
Okay,
etc.
but Fionnán, why don't you use your influence and other councillors use their influence to ensure that proper funding is made available to properly maintain Buncrana? Rather than just accepting that this is the cap of money available and councillors digging into their discretionary fund, which means that's taking it away from other important stuff, where that money used to go into the past. So why effectively, and I think that discretionary funding is a little bit like the people's money at the will of the councillors, if you don't mind me describing it like that. Why is there not more pressure on the council to increase their budgets and reward the ratepayers and the general population of Buncrana with properly clean streets?
Yeah, well, sorry, if I just might finish that point about the money that was subvented from last year. The council's internal audit section and the local government auditor both came down very hard on the council for having done that and said that was not going to be acceptable going forward. Now, in relation to pressure, Greg, since the beginning of this saga, I have contacted the area manager for roads, I've contacted the director for roads, and I've contacted the director of finance in Donegal County Council for the very reason you're asking me, why haven't I done it or why wouldn't I do it, to say that the budget has to be increased. Now, at the same time, Greg, we are spending people's money, and the councillors do have a responsibility, as do the management of the council, to ensure that that money isn't wasted. So it can never be a situation whereby a private contractor would be given any amount of money that they wanted to provide this service. There does have to be a balance struck there. And I believe that can happen and that it should happen. But more than getting more money for a private contractor, I'll come back to my original point. We as a council should be providing these services in-house. We should have our own street sweeper. Buncrana Town Council, before it was abolished, had its own street sweeper, and it was council staff who provided the sweeping service, and that was 5 days a week, and that service worked brilliantly well. And that's where I would like us to get back to, where we are providing our own basic services in-house through our own resources, both human in terms of staff and machinery, etc. So that we're not relying on private contractors.
A tender for road sweeping went out, and there were no tenders. There were no tenders received by the council.
That's correct. The tender went out in the same way that all these tenders are put out in the public domain on e-tenders and on the council website. And unfortunately, neither of the service providers in the county.
And you might not know this, but you might not know this. But was a budget included? Was a budget included in the tender offer? In other words, we are seeking tenders up to a value of such and such. Do we know that? I'm not expecting you to know that. It's just in case you didn't know it.
No, well, I have asked that question, and I am led to believe, Greg, that no, it was left open-ended. It was asking the contractors to tell us how much it would cost for a sweep 3 days a week, plus what's called a long sweep. So that would be the main streets in Mary's Road, plus other areas of the town on the fourth morning in the week, to come back with a cost, tell us how much that would cost, and then for us to look at the budget that is there in place and see could the two marry. So, no, it was a very open-ended, honest process.
Right? No, I'm not saying it would be no, 1 second. I never said it was dishonest. I was just asking if maybe there was a cap on it that could have discouraged people. I've no doubt it was a perfectly honest process. Stay there, Fionnán, because Kieran McKenna's with us as well. And Kieran, I think you, and like I, have nothing but respect for not only the Buncrana Tidy Towns initiative, but the hundreds of volunteers around our county. But we can't rely on them, can we? We can't take advantage of them, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg, and your listeners. No, and at the end of the day, it has been them volunteers that have kept our country looking so well throughout the summer. And the life of a volunteer, yes, at this stage, I'd say they're being exploited because, like they said in their statement, that families and, the age demographic of some of these guys, women and men on the tidy towns, my biggest fear is who's going to replace these people, you know what I mean, on the like of these committees. And it's not just road sweeping that they do. If you looked at their social media page, they're pulling out hedges, they're cleaning roadways, they're doing multiple jobs that to me, it's sad in this day and age that there isn't money, provisions there through the council to do these jobs.
As a ratepayer, Kieran,
when I was a child, in any local town and village, they had their own council staff, they had their own equipment. Listen to Fionn. Yes, there was without the e-tender or whatever, but maybe this new thing that they're going to do with a billy goat is more lucrative to a private operator. Why does it have to be a private operator? There's so many people, within the council, probably would take on that role. But
okay,
because
just stay there, Kieran. I have a question for Fionn. Fionn, do you know how much how much it cost? When it was tendered out for street cleaning versus how much we're paying a private operator. Do you know, is it the same? Is it less? Is it more?
Sorry, are you asking me when the town council agree?
No. Well, yeah, whatever. What I'm trying to get to the bottom of is, there is a budget there for it. You talked about the Tidy Towns budget, right? Paying this private operator to do this, how much of that budget does it eat up? Is it in excess of it? Is it the same? Do we know?
Well, what I know, Greg, is that there was a budget for the provision of street sweeping services in Buncrana, and all of that budget in previous years had been spent on street sweeping services in Buncrana. There was never any money left over from that budget. It was always spent, and that budget has now been used. I had made the mistake in saying that the private contractor, is cleaning the street 3 days a week now, which, to correct myself, it's 5 days in a week, actually. Okay. So that budget that was there for street sweeping has now been used by that private contractor to empty the bins and to manually collect the litter on 5 days in a week, Tuesday and Thursday being the 2 days when it doesn't happen. All
right, stay there. Kieran McKenna, as a business owner, you pay quite an awful lot of rates. Does this make you sort of feel, what's your return on the rates? Or maybe you believe that this private operator is a solution to it. If he's out or she's out 5 days a week and they've got a new piece of equipment, they can get more done. Maybe that's the solution. Kieran, I think I've lost Kieran. I'll bring Rachel in. Rachel, are you there?
Yes.
All right. I think you're sort of joining with what other people on the text machine are doing and paying tribute to the work that the Buncrana Tidy Towns Initiative has done up until now.
They're an amazing bunch of people. So they've all got jobs and families. They give up their own time, and without them, the town would be an absolute disaster, in all honesty. And it just shouldn't be that way. You said to Kieran there, people are paying rates. Where are these rates going if not to keep the town clean and tidy and that? I know there are other things, but surely to God, that's another part of the rate system. I don't understand it. I was born and raised on the main street in Buncrana myself, so I was. Years ago, there was a man who went around with a cart and lifted the rubbish. It worked perfectly well. Since they've put it out to private tender, the whole thing just seems to have gone completely upside down. I don't understand at all why the council don't have their own staff or their own team to do this, even without the equipment like the billy goat and that. There should be some provision for their own staff to do this. They shouldn't be relying on private citizens to clean up what they're basically being paid for.
All right, listen, Rachel, very succinct and to the point. You mentioned Kieran. I think Kieran's back with me, Kieran. I think you did mention in some of your commentary a bit of frustration about where the business rates you pay is actually going.
Exactly, Greg. It's criminal amount of money, you know what I mean, the small businesses have to pay, that be in the main street and the outskirts of Buncrana, or anywhere else in the nation. If I even go to our hometown of Bowel, it's people of tidy towns and local volunteers that's cleaning the street there also. And then, if another stat as well that you might be aware of, Greg, even the simple thing of cutting the grass and the greens between Inishowen is shared on one machine. So the machine goes from Buncrana to Moville and back again. It's one has to ask you, where does the money go? And why as Rachel said, why does it have to be privatised? There is people within the council that's able to do these jobs, but like everything else, it's red tape and it's coming from another direction. And it's sad that surely that this machine's on its way, but it's sad that after 4 months during a busy tourism season in Inishowen that all they'll get is that's what it took. It took the tidy towns. Listeners need to be aware that Buncrana is the second biggest town in Donegal, and they're about 4 points away from winning a national title at Tidy Towns level, which will be phenomenal, and it will be just reward for the volunteers that are there in Buncrana Tidy Town.
Okay.
Some of them start at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and to go to 10 maybe, and on a Saturday morning there could be 15 to 20 volunteers, Greg, out in Buncrana, along with all them mornings during the summer. That if they weren't there, that means I wouldn't have hated to see what it would have been like.
Yeah, Kieran, listen, thank you for that. Fionnán, just finally to you, unfortunately Buncrana Tidy Towns haven't made anyone available to chat to me, so there's obvious questions that I can't put to them, but I'll ask you, have you advised Buncrana Tidy Towns initiative of this new machine coming into the town in mid-September? And if you have, what if they said back to you, does this satisfy their concerns?
Well, yes, I have. As soon as I was aware that this machine was being ordered and purchased by Donegal County Council, I did contact the Tidy Towns, and throughout this entire saga, since roughly the month of May, I have been in regular contact with the Tidy Towns and have attended several meetings between them, the council officials and the Buncrana councillors. So as to whether it satisfies them or not, I honestly couldn't make comment on that. I hope that it does. I feel that they do think that it will be a help and an improvement, and I certainly feel that as well. And I mean, it's a case of maybe giving it time to see this machine in operation, to see the difference that it will make, and hopefully that then we can move forward from this.
Well, they're not doing it, so we'll know. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Sorry, if I could just for 1 minute, I do genuinely want to agree with both Kieran and Rachel, and I had said that before they had come onto your show this morning, that this service shouldn't be privatised, and I really do want that point hammered home, that I fully believe the council should provide this service in-house from our own resources, that we should own a sweeping machine, and that the council staff should be driving it and using it to sweep the streets of Buncrana Town and its environs. And I have been perfectly clear on that since the very start.
All right, listen, I do have to go. If you can be very brief, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to, appeal. I wanted to say that the town of Buncrana is looking very well, and that is unquestionably down to the effort of the Tidy Towns volunteers. They do make a massive difference to the town. We've won 9 successive gold medals in a row, and that's no mean feat.
They know that. They just want the council. Yeah, they know all of that. They just want the council to back them. Yeah. Pats on the back at this stage is not cutting it. They actually want the council to come up with the proper funding to provide the proper services. I think they're fully aware of their achievements with respect, but I do have to leave
that
it
end,
there. Yeah.
I would appeal to everybody now to move forward together for the betterment of Buncrana, us the councillors, the council officials, the Tidy Towns volunteers and all the local businesses, because the last thing we need are rows and division, because Buncrana is what is going to suffer. So I really would appeal.
It's a group of people who are volunteers have said enough is enough. Why should we be, their statement holds there. But listen, I take your point. Thank you. We might, hopefully, Councillor Nicholas Crossan, former Councillor Nicholas Crossan, can join us after 10, but I've run completely out of time and the weather's on the way.
Thunder Rolls, Garth Brooks tribute live at the Villa Rose Hotel on Saturday, October 11th. All Garth's biggest hits, Friends in Low Places, the Thunder Rolls, the Dance, Beaches of Cheyenne, Unanswered Prayers and more in a spectacular 2-hour live band tribute. Tickets €25. Visit villarose.ie and let the thunder roll.
Imagine if you could test drive everything in life. Marriage, new jobs, even your in-laws. Well, at least with your next car you can. At iMotors, we've been helping Donegal families for over 50 years find quality used cars they can trust. All 100% checked and come with a warranty. Take one for a spin today. Visit us in Letterkenny, Malin Village or at imotors.ie.
iMotors, fearless generation. We all have questions on how to keep our kids safe online. How do I get her to spend less time on her phone?
Where do I even start with all the apps she's on?
How do I talk to my students about bullying and social media?
There are things we can do to support children online. Visit webwise.ie for free advice for parents, teachers and young people.
From helpful guides to talking points on image sharing, gaming and more, visit webwise.ie, helping schools and families keep children safe online. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
I'm losing the will waiting for this delivery. Fancy a mawam?
Ooh, they're so chewy.
Yeah, the chew lasts longer than a lecture that starts with, back in my day.
It lasts longer than a daddy longlegs taking the long route round a giraffe's neck.
Longer than a month-long game of ping pong that goes totally wrong and ends up in a right old ding-dong.
Longer than King Kong wearing a sarong to sing a folk song about his lifelong love of Hong Kong.
Easy for you to say.
It really isn't. With Mawam's longer lasting chew, it's easy to choose fun. Chew Mawam.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenny's. With new season styles arriving daily, discover the latest fashion, footwear and accessories for autumn in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Okay, let's see what the weather for the 1st of September has in hold. Widespread showers today along with occasional sunshine. The showers will be heavy at times. Temperatures 14 to 18 degrees, though around about 15 across our region, with moderate west to southwest winds. I do have to take one more quick break before the news at 10. Rejoin us after. We've got lots coming up.
You don't need me to tell you, business isn't easy. But if you look in the right places, there are easy wins out there. 3 words, SEAI Business Supports. And I know what you're thinking. Sure, that'll take ages. 3 more, Rapid Approval Grants. So you can start cutting your energy costs in minutes. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm just a voiceover. So head to seai.ie/easy wins. Are you ready? Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Getting your first electric car is like meeting your partner's family for the first time. Nerves are normal. You were stressed about awkward silence with her dad. Now you chat for hours about sport. You worried her mum wouldn't like you. Now she likes you better than her own son. Likewise, once you experience how great an EV can be, you'll never look back, especially if it's a Skoda. Order your electric Enyaq or Elrock today.
Skoda.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with a cold, flu or sinusitis? Then ask for Irish Botanica Echinacea, a traditional herbal remedy. Irish Botanica Echinacea is your natural solution to relieve the symptoms of the common cold, flu and sinusitis. Call Into the Natural Way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Foyle MP Colm Eastwood has ruled himself out of the race for Orison Ochthuron. The BBC reports the former SDLP leader had considered entering his name in the ring, but ultimately has not, concluding it's not the right time for him. Earlier in the summer, the MP said he had concerns that Irish unity was not a focal point for other potential candidates. School secretaries and caretakers will continue their strike action for a third day today with pickets outside several schools in Donegal. Forces says it's due to the failure of government to engage over the weekend in the dispute over pensions. The union says there is no Workplace Relations Commission process and no talks. Sharon Ward, a school secretary at St Mary's National School in Malin Head, spoke to Greg from the picket line this morning. She says the importance of their work in schools isn't always recognised.
We do the accounts, we do the year ends, the administration, we're PA to the principals, we do the procurement, we pay the wages, we do an awful lot, plus the 200 other small jobs that ensure the day-to-day running of the school. so that the teachers and the principals are able to spend their time teaching, and we take as much pressure off them as we possibly can. What we're doing now goes against everything that we want.
Well, David Ahern is chair of Force's School Caretakers branch. He works at St Mary's Boys National School in Ferrybank in Waterford. He says the government inaction is disappointing since they've been aware of this matter for several months.
We still haven't got anything from Helen McAtee's office or Jock Chambers' office, and to be quite honest with you, I'm very surprised that they haven't even engaged with us yet. They have known about this since June, and they've still yet to come to us and have conversations. We're back here now Monday morning, first day at school gate, so we're ready to go now with the whole hog.
A 38-year-old man arrested in Strabane yesterday has been charged with assaulting police. He was detained in the Railway Street area and is also facing charges of disorderly behaviour. He's expected to appear before Strabane Magistrates Court on Thursday, September 25th. Meanwhile, a 25-year-old arrested by detectives in Derry investigating an aggravated burglary in London Street yesterday has been released on bail to allow for further inquiries. Social Justice Ireland is calling on the government to prioritise social infrastructure in the upcoming budget. The group says global uncertainty makes it vital to protect the most vulnerable. They're demanding a €25 hike in social welfare rates when the budget is announced in 6 weeks. Policy analyst researcher with Social Justice Ireland, Michelle Murphy, says government will see a spike in poverty and deprivation rates without the proposed increase.
Without one-off payments for those groups who are reliant on social welfare, and without actually an adequate weekly increase, what government will see is actually just a spike in poverty and deprivation rates, and that will be really, really damaging to those groups. We are asking for a €25 a week increase in social welfare rates as well in the budget, and then the prioritisation of social infrastructure.
A think tank says claims the UK can't withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights because of commitments made in the Good Friday Agreement are groundless. The agreement largely ended decades of violence across the border and led to the establishment of a power-sharing executive. Conservative leader Kimmy Badenoch has ordered a review into whether the UK should quit the Human Rights Convention. That's been criticised by some politicians here. Police searching for a 15-year-old missing in Derry say they are very concerned. Whitney McDonough was last seen in the Coolmore area of the city at approximately 9:30 on Saturday evening. It's believed she was going into the city centre. Whitney was last seen wearing a royal blue jumper, light bleached jeans and high-top Converse trainers. Those who believe they have information are being urged to make contact with police. And Dublin City Council is being urged to take action after dozens of tricolours were erected across the capital. In recent weeks, lines of tricolours have been erected in the Ballyfermot, Coolock, Finglas and north and south inner city areas. The erection of the flags has been compared to the Operation Raise the Colours campaign, which is currently underway across the UK. Labour councillor Dara Moriarty says he believes far-right actors are behind the putting up of the flags.
I don't think our flag should be used for hateful intent. It shouldn't be used to divide. It shouldn't be used to mark territory and make people feel intimidated and harassed. And it's very clear the people who are celebrating this and the people who are talking this up and calling on others to do it are doing it with a hateful motive. And it is far-right actors. It is far-right agitators. And Dublin City Council, the largest local authority in the state, should be confronting this instead of running away from it.
Weather forecast, widespread showers today along with some occasional sunshine. The showers heavy at times. Top temperatures 14 to 16 degrees Celsius in moderate west to southwest winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. In the interim, check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Monday morning, September 1st. The death has taken place of Mabel Witherow or Millbridge Farm, Gobnaskill Convoy. Her remains will repose at her home today from 12 noon. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow at 1:30 for 2 p.m. funeral service in St Ninian's Church Convoy, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. House private on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if desired to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. The death has occurred in her 103rd year of Annie O'Donnell, Knockastallar Bunbeg, originally of Cullacreg Annagray. Her remains will repose at her home today from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m. and tomorrow from 12 p.m. until 8 p.m. Rosaries nightly at 8 o'clock. House private after the rosary and on the morning of the funeral. Annie's funeral mass will take place on Wednesday at 11 o'clock in St Patrick's Church, Menawill, with interment afterwards in Mahragalm Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page and on the church webcam. The death has occurred of Jacqueline Watson, nee McCafferty, late of Elm Castle Green at Kilnamad, Dublin 24, and formerly of Drumbo Avenue, Stranorlar, reposing at the family home in Elm Castle Green today from 5 o'clock until Rosary at 9 p.m, reposing at the home of her sister and brother-in-law Anne and Leon McGranahan, Drumbo Avenue, Stranorlar, tomorrow and Wednesday from 4 p.m. until Rosary at 9 o'clock both days. Leaving the family home at Drumbo Avenue on Thursday morning at 20:11 for Mass of the Resurrection at 11 a.m. at the Church of Mary Immaculate, Main Street, Stranorlar. The funeral Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam. Jacqueline will be laid to rest in the family plot at Drumbo Cemetery, Stranorlar. Family time at all other times, please. The death has occurred of Colm Sweeney, Drumahy Park, Ardra, formerly of Carrickcleave. His remains will repose at McCabe's funeral home, Ardra, today from 4 p.m. until 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for funeral mass at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, Letterkenny, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Seamus Logue, Granshire Rise, Belfast, and late of Largan Ray Downings. Seamus's remains will repose at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny, today from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Requiem Mass will be held tomorrow at St John the Baptist Church, Carrigart, at 11 o'clock. Burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. The death has occurred of McGallen, Meanglass Road, Ballybuffet, reposing at the family home today from 11 a.m. until the Rosary at 9 p.m. Funeral from the family home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar. Interment afterwards in Drumbo Cemetery. The Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Philomena Griffin, nee Sheeran of Ballynesville, Carroll. Funeral from her home today at 12 noon for Mass in St Finian's Church, Carroll, with burial afterwards in Gortahork Cemetery. House private before the funeral. Funeral Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The death has occurred of Anna Doherty, 71, Benview Estate, Cosh Quinn, Derry. Anna's remains are reposing at her home. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 9:15 to St Patrick's Church, Pennyburn, for Requiem Mass at 10 o'clock, followed by interment in Our Lady of Lourdes Graveyard, Inch Island. Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. The death has taken place of Ernest Luther, Green Gables, Ross Bracken. Funeral leaving his home this morning at 11:15 for 11:30 funeral mass in the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Letterkenny, followed by burial in Drumahal Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Willie Davies, Glenalla, Milford, reposing at his home. Funeral service at his home today at 2 p.m, followed by burial in Bank Cemetery, Ramelton. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
It's back to school. Want to save big time on dinners? Aldi gets a good report. There's so much to choose from, like Irish diced chicken pieces for $3.69, wholemeal tortilla wraps for $1.35, and a fajita spice mix for just 65 cents. Great value in any language. Good food, good mood from Aldi, while stocks last.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Hopefully your Monday's going well. It is the 1st of September 2025. Could you ask Greg to raise the possibility of a scheme being looked at? The old FAST scheme where people on job seekers or people getting community service were tasked with the upkeep of the streets. This can be a kind of a controversial suggestion. It has been made in the past. I'm sure people involved in certain schemes are involved in the upkeep and maintenance of their areas. Would you extend it to fast schemes? The problem is we have a very high level of employment, even in this county. So it's not like when there was 15% people unemployed. It's much less now. So I'm not sure if the capacity is there for this type of project, or maybe it is. I don't know. It all went wrong when the council got rid of the man and the shovel job, which did the job of 100. Some pen pushers changed the system. Another, the council just wants people to work for nothing. The whole Tidy Towns organisation is working for nothing. Councils want to outsource everything to save money. Have you ever tried to get a council official to be accountable for anything? It's past the buck territory. Councillor Noel Jordan had already brought forward a motion on all roads equipment and machinery and the procurement of same by the council rather than private contractors. Greg, it's interesting that this county gives out constantly about refugees being here, yet they are the ones that I see on a Sunday morning out collecting the rubbish in the morning. Okay. Take unemployed out on the scheme to do the cleaning of the streets, says a listener. Now, as I say, people are unemployed for for various reasons. Some of it can be health related or what have you, but maybe there is an element there. I don't know. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. A caller says, and maybe this is something will resonate with mums and dads and guardians out there. I'd like your opinion on this. My daughter attends secondary school, currently in her second year. Now the school has been doing the free book scheme this couple of years, but all of a sudden now there's an administrative charge, which I might add is around about the same amount as the book rental scheme would have been if not for the free book scheme. They're stating now if this €70 is not paid, the child will not receive her locker. Surely this can't be done, given the free book scheme and payments are supposed to be voluntary. So it says, Dear parent guardian, looking forward to welcoming your child to school. A gentle reminder, all admin fees must be paid in full before the return, as lockers will not be allocated to students who've not paid. Another gentle reminder then on the following Thursday. And let's see. Yeah, that last text is in relation to something else. So no locker, no fee. So pardon my ignorance, you obviously need a locker, don't you, for your books? I can't rack my brains as to what the story was with the boys or what have you. I never had to pay for a locker, but €70 fee for a locker to hold the books, it doesn't feel like a free book scheme, and that doesn't feel like a voluntary payment either. If you don't pay it, you don't get it. It's an administrative charge. That's a lot of lockers, a lot of €70. I don't know what the fee's actually for. I don't want to mention the school because I don't have enough information to do that at this point, but maybe you've received that bill as well. Are you resisting paying it? Can you get away with not paying it, or do you have to have a locker and therefore it's €70 you have to find? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. Why isn't the president elected democratically? Because I, as a citizen, do not have a TD or council who represents who I want. Interesting. So effectively your candidate would struggle to get on the ballot paper, I presume. Like, I could say to you, yes, but ultimately you decide by your vote. But you're effectively saying, aren't you, that you could be left with a list of candidates chosen by TDs, councils, etc., and the person, none of those people represent you. So, yeah, I've said that before. Others seem to think you need some control on him. Greg, I was working at about 30 primary schools in the past year. Secretaries are loved by the kids. They are the essential positive communications bridge between the teachers and the kids and parents. Every time I met them with a smile so human and friendly, I'm sure if the kids were asked should they get parity, they would all say yes. And I agree. And what you're saying is right. It's a very important role. We heard it from about caretakers last week about how, they're there to meet the kids, make sure the pathways are clear, maybe help with roads crossings. Secretaries are there smiling when you turn up. That's very, very important what they do. But outside of that sort of like a devotion-y type job description, they do very, very critical work, especially the secretaries, but not particularly in a different way, to actually keeping the wheels turning, assisting a working principal, for an example, processing pay, dealing with emails, phones. So, proper stuff. And I'm not saying what you're saying isn't proper stuff, but there's this kind of, which I don't think helps their cause, this sense that they're sort of like the smiling community face of the school. Yes, of course they are, but they play critical roles in the upkeep and ongoing work within the school as well. You know, really proper office work and all that kind of stuff as well. I hope I haven't shot myself in the foot. I hope you get the point I'm trying to make there. Okay, we're going to have another voice on the Buncrana Tidy Towns downing tools effectively over the controversy of road sweeping, etc. in Buncrana, and much more after we take this quick break. Good luck if you are playing the bingo today. By the way, here's your numbers.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 1st of September. You're playing on the green sheet for the daily prize of €800. The reference number is S16. It's game number 36. The numbers are 17, 13, 15, 67, 89, 73, 34, 85, 1, and finally 7. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
By taking the bus, the train, walking or cycling whenever you can, you're playing a part in helping to reduce Ireland's transport emissions. To help you on your way, this year over €1.6 billion is being invested in public transport nationwide and over €1 million a day on our walking and cycling routes. This has helped more people than ever to access more sustainable transport, because wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Who's watching your home while you're asleep, at work or on holiday? With the Sheridan Security Alarm System, you can be assured of round-the-clock monitoring. Our central monitoring station is on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, monitoring homes and businesses in the northwest for intruder, fire, panic and medical signals, giving you the peace of mind you deserve. Sheridan Security Systems, Bonagee, Letterkenny, protecting what you value most. Call us for a free quotation on 9126 6025.
If you're getting new furniture or it's time for a change, pay a visit to McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. There you'll find a selection of suites, beds and bedroom furniture, dining room and occasional furniture. You'll be amazed by the selection and pleasantly surprised by the prices. At McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. And online at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Former councillor in Buncrana, Nicholas Crossan's with me now. Good morning, Nicholas. Sorry for holding you over till after 10.
No problem, Greg. Sorry about that.
No, it's our fault. Listen, Nicholas, just before we get into what you think could be done here, take us back to town council days. Was it that seen as a better way of keeping Buncrana clean and tidy in terms of who had sort of control over it, budgeting, etc.?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, Greg. Just before that, look, I'd like to congratulate the Tidy Towns on the wonderful work they do. They've been doing this for year in, year out and get very little thanks for it. They're not doing it for thanks, they're doing it for the benefit of their town and their community, and I want to thank them, Greg. But the Tidy Town, or the town councils, were abolished in 2014. And the minister that abolished them, the Right Honourable Phil Hogan, in his wisdom says the town councils would not suffer, would be entitled to every service that they have now when they were taken over from the county. So one of those services that Buncrana provided, and in their wisdom many years before, the Buncrana Town Council employed people to street the sweeps 7 days a week, and Buncrana was kept, along with the Tidy Towns, kept immaculately, and we had that service, which was kind of, in the last few years, trying to draw back on that. But under the 2014 agreement of putting people first, Buncrana was and should be still entitled to street sweeping.
Now, as it turned out, those resources were spread across all of Inishowen. So, as far as you remember from your time in the council then, what was the street cleaning protocol, the street cleaning system that ran alongside the excellent voluntary work Buncrana Tidy Towns do?
As it was up to recently, it was a private company. In the latter years, it was a private Donegal County Council. Many, or Buncrana Town Council many years ago had people, but Buncrana was a smaller town then. But in recent years, we had, I'm talking the last 20 odd years, we had a street sweeper that went round, swept Buncrana Main Street, St Mary's Road, and the main arteries coming into the town 7 days a week. And then the various estates in the town were swept on a periodic basis then, just to keep them tidy and people might know about them, do a sweep up, push the stuff out the side of the road. And Buncrana was in good condition.
So what changed as far as you understand? Because, as I say, I'm slightly hamstrung because Buncrana Tidy Towns are just leaving that statement there and not speaking publicly beyond that at this point. What has changed then that has, as far as you understand, brought the Tidy Towns initiative to this decision?
All right, you just can't expect people to do the same thing day in and day out.
But when did that 7-day service stop? Sorry, maybe that wasn't clear in my question.
Sorry, I'm just not quite aware how long ago this. It's a few years back. The 7 day it went down to a 5 day, which and listen, Greg, I'm not in the winter time. October, November, December, January. 5 days, 5 day service was good for Buncrana, good enough for Buncrana. We got our main arteries swept, and Buncrana was in good condition. But April, May, June, July, August, September, where we have visitors coming. Buncrana was too good with visitors this year.
Good.
We need to keep Buncrana tidy because people are coming. They're not coming to towns now that they're dirty. They're not coming to. They want to when they park the cars or whether there's cleanliness about the town. There's a feel-good factor about the town, and Donegal County Council and the Tidy Towns working in conjunction. We're able to do that. But when you leave it to a community group, an organisation, and each year it is expected for the Tidy Towns to do more and more, and it's not on.
Yeah, but the council did put out a service to tender. There were no tenders received, so they've had to go down another route. Do you have any sympathy for the council in that regard?
I fail to see. I fail to see how nobody could come back on that. I'm not au fait with the situation.
Well, there's only two companies, right? So I'd be very interested, whether on the record or off the record, they indicated as to why. Was it the terms of the tender, or maybe it was down to their own current workloads? I don't know, but according to go ahead.
We could beat about the bush all day long, but it's about one thing. And
money.
It's about money.
So what do you think of this piece of equipment that's been bought? It's I don't know if we've got the push version or the ride-on version, but the Phenon seems to be of the view that... Yeah.
Greg, a billy goat is grand if you were tidying up around a couple of houses or something like that. For a town the size of Buncrana, I'm sure...
I think those things do the open spaces in shopping centres. Do you know, that sort of a way to take on a full town and its surrounds.
But not a means. Not if you're taken from the roundabout, at least from the roundabout in Buncrana, beside then the Shown Gateway Hotel, right up the main street. When you come over the bridge, do you turn left to go over by the shore, or do you keep going straight, or do you go over St Mary's Road or go up the main street? I mean, it's a fob off.
You won't do it in the rain either. I mean, you can't expect...
We want the service we were promised, and the service we were entitled to before 2014. We must look at the big picture.
I just think with this billy goat, firstly, there doesn't seem to be any protection from the elements in it. The ones I Google all seem to be battery operated. I hope they didn't get a battery operated one, because you won't get halfway up the street. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. But okay.
I have seen one in operation once. But as you say, it's for inside a mall or doing a few houses. It's not for a main street or for a town.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that, and the bags on them are tiny. Like, you'd be constantly changing the bags. Maybe.
Well, if you see some of the refuge in Buncrana Main Street after the weekends, and you'd have to say to yourself, what is the mindset of people?
Well, we're not going to fix that one. We don't have the time to try and fix that one. I don't get it. I don't understand why people throw stuff around their ass.
I've seen it umpteen times. There are bins around the shorefront in Buncrana. Beautiful. One of the nicest walks maybe in Ireland. And somebody goes up and folds a pizza box in half and sticks it in, halfway into the bin. So then the next person, that bin's full, I'll not use that there. And nothing in the bin.
Right.
And if you said anything, which I did, I got a lot of words that you couldn't use in Highland Radio thrown at me. I said, push the bloody thing into the bin, would you, to the road?
Yeah, but even the problem... I think anyone with with a bin in the kitchen knows as soon as you put a big piece of cardboard in, the capacity of the bin is halved. It makes... All right, so your suggestion is to scrap free parking and bring whatever money that brings in to put it to the street cleaning budget.
No, I didn't say scrap free parking, Greg. What I did say before I left the council, I did say what we should reinstate what we had at first, 10 or 15 minutes
back to
free
10.
parking.
Okay, sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
No, and look at the big picture in this. In the past 12, 14 years, and I'll have to say, and people listen to this, the only charges that stays in a town that doesn't go to Donegal County Council, that doesn't go to Lifford, are parking charges. If you look at the towns where they have them, Bundoran, Donegal Town, Ballybofey, Letterkenny, Buncrana, those charges say, so we have lost out almost €3 million in charges that we could have spent in Buncrana Town. €3 million in charges that we could have spent in Buncrana Town over the past 12, 14 years. And I'm not saying that we crucify. Keep the charges 50 cents for your parking for an hour. You get 10 or 15 minutes free. If you want a paper on Maxi Running or down to, you don't need one down at McKenna's or a gun for an ice cream or whatever the case may be. But a half an hour parking, Greg, if you see the traffic warden, I pull onto Main Street in Montana, the traffic warden's walking up and I pull on and I said, well, I have 3 quarters an hour because she's going to go around the town, so I'll be back here. Then when she comes back then, she has to take my number at the time she comes back. So I could pay park half an hour and I've got another half hour parking.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this, and it's not the popular thing, but until the councillors, like we have to go on, and sometimes we had to make the easy choices, and they were out and we all ran for photographs and all, but sometimes you have to make the hard choices. People come to Buncrana, visitors come to Buncrana, and we're delighted to see them coming. Come to Buncrana, they use our facilities, they use our walks, wherever they want to go, and it doesn't cost one red cent.
I get you, but at this, I understand that would create some revenue, but the revenue budget, the Donegal County Council's revenue budget last year was 186 million. You know, I mean, surely... And
you take 70% out of that going on wages, salaries and pensions. Well, doesn't leave a lot for spending, Greg. You know, you're talking about 30% of that, so you're down then 3 million euro.
It leaves there's 100, okay. But still, there's like local roads maintenance improvement, 19 million, national roads maintenance improvements, 1.5, local authority housing maintenance, 9 million, public convenience maintenance, 577,000 euro. I'd love to know where that money's going. Outdoor
I would love to know as well. I do know where
577,000 euros spent last year on public convenience maintenance. That's public toilets. These are the toilets that people can't use half the time. Over 500,000. Outdoor leisure areas operations, that's your play parks and all that, 2.2. So listen, there's some good money going some places, but blooming hell, there's some money going.
There's only a few ways we can raise as we put on a local tax, or we put it onto the ratepayer. And I'm sure Kieran McKenna was on there a month ago. He doesn't want to be paying any more rates, or neither does the pubs up the street or the ice cream shops or the paper shops or whatever the case may be. They're strapped with wages at the moment, with high costs, with charges. We can't put any more money on the ratepayers in Donegal.
Yeah.
We've got a few good months in the summertime. We're hanging on during the wintertime just to survive and hoping that we get a break in the summertime. And it's very, very unfair. And the services that we're providing in Buncrana, the shops are doing a great job. But you just can't expect the ratepayer to pay year after year after year.
I mean, I think that's the frustration. All right, Nicholas, listen, thanks very much for your insight. Nicholas Crossan, former mayor there. 577,716 euro being spent this year on public convenience maintenance, which I presume is the cleaning of toilets, their general upkeep. I don't see public toilets that kind of align with 600,000 euro odd of spending. Maybe I'm being silly and naive, but my word, that's a lot of cash spent on public convenience maintenance given the state of our toilets.
If you're aged 59 to 70, we will invite you for a free HSE bowel screening home test. Screening can help find signs of bowel cancer early, before any symptoms show, making it easier to treat.
At Dunnes Stores, our autumn savers will get you back into the swing of things. With Kellogg's Rice Krispies 660 gram and Capri Sun 10 pack, all better than half price. Or choose selected wines like Silver Mauky's Sauvignon Blanc, Monteliana Frizzante Blanc or French Pinot Noir, just €7.50. And save more with your 10 off 50 or 5 off 25 vouchers. Dunnes Stores. always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Meet James. He made big savings on his car insurance when he made the switch to Outsurance.
Hi, I'm James. It's true, I saved €179 when I made the switch. And with the Out bonus, I'll get 10% of my premiums back in cash after 3 years claim free.
Ooh, lovely. For a competitive car insurance quote like James's, call 1800 600 400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison, the customer received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Car and home insurance is underwritten by Outsurance DAC. Outsurance DAC, trading as Outsurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Attention all contractors and defective home contractors. National Fuels Letterkenny is now supplying Semcor cement. From a single bag for the DIY enthusiast to full pallet loads for contractors, all at very competitive prices. Call 074 91 37 400. National Fuels Letterkenny. Also available in our Churchill and Dunlow depots.
Planning a celebration? Discover the brand new Lily's restaurant at the Mount Errigal Hotel. A stylish new space with beautiful surroundings and your own private bar. Perfect for birthdays, communions, anniversaries and more. Book now at Res Diary or call 074 912 2700.
Don't delay when you get your bowel screening invitation. Call us today on 1800 45 45 55 or visit bowelscreen.ie. From the HSE.
I'm joined in studio now by Phelim Malloy of Glenswilly, who is the incoming president of the Irish Natural and Hill Farmers Association. Good morning and congratulations, Phelim. Great to have you in.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all your listeners.
So talk to us about the Irish Natural and Hill Farmers Association, who they represent.
Yeah, the Irish Natural and Hill Farmers Association was basically set up to represent farmers on the poorer type land and in upland areas. Now, we would have a lot of members down the west coast of Ireland. It was set up in 2015. And the reason it was set up was that the people that actually set up the Irish Natural and Hill Farmers Association felt that they weren't getting proper representation from the established farming organisations.
So the IFA, did you feel the IFA were looking after the big boys?
That would have been very much so. The people that actually would have been involved at the IFA level at the time felt that they just weren't getting the proper hearing to address the problems that were confronting the smaller type farmers, and that was the reason why the Irish Natural and Hill Farmers Association was actually established.
Are your farmers mostly sheep farmers, beef, cow farmers, a mix?
Sheep and suckler farmers, basically. Now, we would have a small number of people that would be involved in other farming activities, but by and large, it would be the sheep and suckler sectors that we would be representing.
Now, every time I read about it, apparently, lambs are making record prices, fat lambs, skinny lambs, the whole blooming lot. Depends if you watch the whole day, you get a fortune for a skinny lamb in the morning and, maybe not quite so much for a fat lamb in the evening. Are things not good?
Yeah. From a market point of view at the moment, the prices are good. But unfortunately, the reality is within farming that income can be very volatile. It would depend on market conditions maybe from year to year.
And you are price takers, not price fixers.
When you go to the mart or to the factory with your animal, you actually have to take the price as offered on the day. So from that point of view, I think the whole area of supports through CAP and that is critical for the continuance of farming activity and the type of areas that our people would be farming on.
There seems to be a lot of people involved in farming now, and there's a lot of sort of small, medium-sized farmers in our county, but they're packing it in, you know what I mean? And also in terms of dairy farming, beef farming as well, the amount of animals being slaughtered is going down all of the while, year on year. This is happening really, really quickly, right? So even though there is some good money there at the moment, people are still leaving the industry. And I think it's, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it that farmer with, 40 sheep or 50 sheep, or is it the bigger boys as well? Or what's going on? Who's exiting and why?
Yeah, I suppose, one of the reasons why farmers are exiting is the actual farm gate price that they're getting, in a lot of cases, wouldn't meet their costs. Now, there's historical reasons for that because In the past, the payment system was actually based on a historic payment, and there was a time when 80% of the payments went to 20% of the farmers. So the average farm size in Ireland is about 30 hectares. Now, if you're on poorer quality land, the income that can be generated from that is actually limited. But when those farmers were actually starved of the resources to help them improve their farms, invest in their farms, unfortunately that just wasn't available down the years. And that is one of the reasons why, if the cost of production actually exceeds what the return is, it will force people effectively out. Now, if you just look at the sheep sector, that's one of the areas that's actually targeted as being, a very low income in that. But in the past, wool was a major contributor to the economic return from sheep farming. But because of the decline in the wool market, that has actually forced the prices down as well.
You could have made your money on the wool almost, and not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've heard of cases where people would have kept their wool, maybe sold it, and they were fit to buy a tractor in that in the past. Now, unfortunately, that is gone. We're doing a lot of work at the moment to try and revive products that can be developed on wool. So that's an area where you can actually add economic benefit to that output.
Are the majority of your members business people? In other words, the farm is their business, or a lot of your members, I'm not saying it's a hobby, right? Don't get me wrong. But, if the truth be told, if they didn't have a love of it, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, there's two sides that definitely, I think for anybody who's involved in farming, there is a love of it, and you have to be interested, because otherwise,
I see people get excited about, a lamb being born, feeding it with a bottle for like 3 or 4 months, chucking nuts into it left, right and centre, and then it getting 155 quid at the mart.
Yeah.
You could only do that if you had a love of it, right? That's not a business.
It's actually, a lot of people would describe farming as a profession. You're actually
no, I'm not. No,
dedicated to it.
Of course they are, and I'm not questioning the dedication. Don't get me wrong, but I'm on about if I'm going on Dragon's Den, right, and I'm saying this is my pitch. You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't for CAP and other schemes, there's no money in farming.
Yeah, and because the fact that the farm, as I mentioned earlier, the average size of the farm be about 30 hectares, there is a necessity to have off-farm income to actually support that.
Yeah.
Having said that, if you look at it from a broader perspective and what that farming activity actually contributes to the overall economy, and say in Donegal, I know just from CAP payments alone, there's about 128 million actually coming into the county,
which is massive.
Which, from an economic point of view, because the benefits of that income are actually spread across all sectors of the communities.
Yeah.
There was a report done in 2019 to the effect that for an income, say, coming into a farm in a certain area, the benefit of that can be found within 35 kilometres of that recipient's home. So, if you just look at the number of small businesses, you have the mart, you have the co-ops, that's all generating economic activity. So it's important from that perspective.
This is a question, not a statement, though, Phelim, and enjoy your wee glass of water there. I'm having you busy chatting here. But the farming is retracting very quickly in this country, livestock farming. I would say it's not retracting in the big boys, in inverted commas, the people who have an awful lot of land, an awful lot of cattle. I think they're still at it, right? But if you look at the amount of animals we're slaughtering last month versus the year before, can it be saved at this point? I almost feel like when we're arguing the benefits of farming, we all know it. I know it. People very close to me are farmers. Don't get me wrong. I get this. I just feel that battle's almost been lost. I think there's a lot of farmers who have said, I'm not hanging on anymore. And the smaller that voice gets, right, and as farming gets consolidated into the big boys, most likely further south, then the INHFA's voice quietens. The IFA's voice quietens. Do you get where I'm coming from? So it's almost like death by a thousand cuts, but it feels to me like we're very deep into that process already.
Yeah, but I think it's important that you look at the overall context and what actually agriculture delivers for the rural economies and the employment that's actually created through that. So there is that spin-off. Now, from an individual farmer perspective, and it's something that's actually mentioned in the new CAP plans, where payments would be directed towards, the disadvantaged areas and the more extensive type of farming systems, which the suckler and sheep sectors would actually be extensive systems. So therefore, there is a recognition, even at European level, that it's absolutely critical that these farming systems are actually maintained from a rural development point of view. And not alone that, but just from an environmental perspective as well. Because there was a report published a number of years ago for the EU Agricultural Committee, and it was around the threat of abandonment of ANC type land. Now, most of our lands in Donegal would be ANC type land. And it highlighted the economic benefit from a social point of view, and it also highlighted the environmental impact, because there was an excess of 63 habitats that were actually benefiting from the existing farming practices. So from an economic and social perspective and environmental perspective, it is critical that farming system is actually maintained. Now,
I just don't believe, unfortunately, that Europe is going to be prepared to fund farming in this country for those very, very legitimate reasons, to keep the caretakers of our areas of designated areas of natural constraint, as they should be. I just don't believe that's an argument that's going to resonate in Brussels.
The documentation that we have received on the CAP from 2028 to 2034 actually does highlight the benefit of maintaining farming in those more disadvantaged areas. And there are paragraphs. Now, those documents were actually released just before the summer recess. There's still a lot of work to be done on them in terms of teasing out the pros and cons of what's actually meant by certain issues. But it is recognised. And even earlier on this year, there was a document prepared that was called the Strategic Dialogue on the Future of EU Farming. And that was one thing that came through very strongly, was that it was critical from the different perspectives, economic, social and environmental, that the farming systems were actually maintained. So there is that recognition out there, because the problems that are arising now, from a very, very intensive agricultural systems, from environmental point of view. So the farming systems that are employed on these types of lands are actually beneficial across a number of headings.
I get you. In relation to CAP Post 2, take a drink of water there, it's all right. I'll elongate the question. In terms of CAP, there's a bit of CAP kite flying now for 2028 and beyond. Major concern, farmers on the state pension wouldn't get CAP. Now, I don't know how many, we have an ageing farming population, right? 65's young now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, thankfully. People looking after themselves. How big an impact would it be if pension receiving farmers weren't to get any CAP payment at all?
Yeah, that is one of the provisions actually that's included in the documents, and that proposal that those farmers receiving a state pension would be discontinued from receiving EU payments. Now, we have made strong representation on that, and from a workable point of view, if you just look in Donegal, around 30% of the farmers could potentially be impacted by that.
I knew it would be high. I didn't think it would be as high as almost
that's
1 in 3.
What's estimated at the moment. So if you look at the drop in income that would actually result from that, from an economic point of view. So I know
how many 62, 63, 64-year-olds listen to us right now are going, stuff it, I ain't rolling the dice. I'm going to try and get out as best as I can right now. These types of measures, even if they're only just sort of being talked about, are going to influence people's decisions potentially.
And I think that's a job that has to be done. And we will actually be engaging widely with our members over the next period of time, just to keep them fully updated on what the progress has been made and the CAP consultative talks, which I know we have a meeting now due on the 18th of September. But that is one major issue. Now, I have been in touch with, MEPs and that, and the feeling is that is a plan that will not actually work out at the end of the day, because there are major issues around it from a fairness point of view, for all sorts of reasons, not just purely financial.
But discrimination feels like one to me.
Yeah, that's
to be honest with you, on the most basic, you're entitled to get a state pension, but just because you're entitled to get a state pension, how on earth could it be legal for them to be precluded to get EU funding? It doesn't, that, because it's only about your age. I know you're receiving a pension, but that's almost by the by. So how important is it that we have strong voices, not only like from representative groups like yours, but you're not going to be around the table when CAP 2028 and beyond is being adopted. How important is it that the likes of the Department of Agriculture are on board and are making this argument on our behalf? Or again, like farmers in the factories or farmers in the marts, are we just going to be sort of deal takers? Can we influence this?
Oh, we can, yeah, because from a political perspective, I think, obviously politicians are going to have a major role in making sure that there is balance and fairness and whatever proposals are actually agreed. So we are engaging as of now with politicians just to brief them. A lot of them will be very well aware of what the consequences
but
are.
Our national policy has to be about protecting farming. If it's about AI, if it's about data centres, if it's about farms of solar panels, we have a problem. The nitrates derogation we are getting, it's going to be... Now, I know it's not as big a factor for us up here as it might be down south. Yeah. That's going to go, right? The reality is because I think senior government members here have pretty much conceded that with comments I've made, though they haven't said it directly. So, there has to be a national commitment to all grades of farming in this country, because if that is not the case, then the argument won't be as strong as it needs to be as CAP's negotiated.
Yeah, and if you look at it, from a food production point of view,
food security
and food security, the farmers in our county, they're producing food, stock or grazing on grounds. That forage has been turned into protein, which goes in then to feed human beings. So from that point of view, our farming systems actually do contribute to food security. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very important that is actually remembered.
And, a lot of the reason why the squeeze is going to be on farmers down the line in different areas of farming is because of emissions, which is and to the west of us, the United States have said, stuff that. We're going to be drilling as much oil as we can. The Conservatives in Britain now effectively have said they're going to get rid of caps and start drilling and exhausting the oil they have off their northern coasts. And yet here we are going to be squeezed in the middle chatting about cows farting for the next 5 or 6 years. Pardon my language, but you know what I mean? The conversation has moved so far forward, and that has had such a huge impact on agriculture in this country. And to our west and east, they're forgetting about it. They're saying, stuff it, drill, baby, drill, to quote Trump.
Yeah. And because of the farming systems that we practice are extensive, there's very low inputs. So therefore, you don't have the same output of meatling or whatever else. If you, again, just go back to the sheep sector. A sheep could be deemed to be a sequester of carbon, because in every 1 kilo of wool that's produced, there's about 175 grams of carbon captured in that. So therefore, that is actually a positive from the point of view of the environment. But if you just look at other areas that are impacting on the environment, one of the biggest threats, and it's been well publicised in the research, every week been published on, and that is the impact of microplastics. Huge, not alone just from a human health point of view, an environmental point of view, right across the board. So our policy is that we try and replace those synthetic fibres with a natural fibre, and wool is one of the very, very obvious and environmentally friendly alternatives there. So I think there's too much of a focus on what actually maybe is happening on the small farm. And the bigger picture, the production of synthetic fibres as a massive contributor.
Yeah, I know, but that's going to be a big argument to get across the board. But I understand exactly what you're saying. The random one, I've lots of questions in, but just this is one caught my ear or eye. Are we still measuring radiation levels in the hills and lower ground in Donegal since the Chernobyl incident in April '86? And are they decreasing?
No, that was actually a programme that was undertaken after that. But I'm not aware at this point in time that there's any testing that hasn't been. I don't think it has been necessary, because obviously it would have reached a stage where they have discovered that the residual radiation levels had disappeared so much that it wasn't necessary. That's not something that would be an issue as far as we have come across.
Okay, Phelim, listen, you've a busy, is it a year term?
It's a 2-year term, yeah.
Right. You've a busy couple of years ahead, because that'll bring you just right into the jaws of CAP, and by the time you're wrapping up, we'll know really what CAP 2028 and beyond looks like. Hopefully, the likes of your organisation gets plenty of coverage, not just in the local press, but national press as well. Yeah. I think sometimes we're seen as country boys just yapping, and we don't get necessarily the platform nationally that we deserve. When we're talking about rural issues.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very important that that there's good engagement between the like of Irish Nature and Hill Farmers Association and local media in that, because I think that the more that the public in general understand about the role that agriculture plays and their everyday lives, not just from a farm, but their own everyday lives, I think the better understanding out there of what the farmers are actually doing. And I think that's very, very important. And we look forward to engaging on an ongoing basis with Highland Radio as the talks on the CAP progress and how progress has been made on the critical issues that are confronting us.
Yeah, 100%, because often, and it suits governments around the world, often the misunderstanding suits it. So farmers are dismissed as always getting this, that and that. Same as teachers, but your summer holidays. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily tell the full picture. So I think we need nuanced conversations. Best of luck with your term, Phelim. You will be taking up the position formally at Percy's French Hotel, Strokestown on the 11th of September.
11th of September. Right? The National AGM is on and the 11th of September. So from then on, and unlike
don't get cancelled between now and then, will you not?
Unlike a president that was inaugurated earlier on the year, I won't be signing any executive orders on the first day of the presidency.
All right, well, sure, we'll see what you do. We'll see what you do. Pull out. All right, Phelim Malloy of Glen Swilly. We'll be back with more after a break.
Is your couch older than your Spotify playlist? Is your dining table wobblier than your uncle at a wedding? If so, it's time for an upgrade at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny, the largest furniture store in the Northwest. From stylish sofas to elegant beds, from floor covering to occasional pieces, we've got you covered. And we offer free delivery within 80 kilometres. Grove Furnishings. Seriously good furniture.
Host your next corporate meeting or event at Century Complex in Letterkenny. With 4 high-tech function rooms, we've got the perfect space for every group size and need. Professional, flexible and fully equipped, all under one roof. Call Century Complex on 07491 21976 today for more information or to make a booking.
For the biggest names in perfumes and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dior, Armani and Hugo Boss, Victor and Rolf, Marc Jacobs and Lancôme. Also Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
Earn as you go with our PTSB Explore current account. Earn up to €5 cashback a month as you pay with your card. And up to 5% cashback when you pay bills with our partners. For a banking experience that means more for you, apply in-app and start earning today. PTSB. Altogether more human. Qualifying criteria, terms and conditions apply. 5 cent back on card purchases up to €5 per month. Bills paid by direct debit required. Account partners and benefits are subject to change. €8 monthly maintenance fee applies. Other charges may apply. Over 18 personal customers only. E-statements only. Permanent TSB PLC trading as PTSB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenny's. With new season styles arriving daily, discover the latest fashion, footwear and accessories for autumn in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
There will be widespread showers today along with occasional sunshine. The showers will be heavy at times, highest temperatures of 14 to 18 degrees with moderate west to southwest winds. Just to remind you, we're broadcasting live on Sunday, this coming Sunday, between 12 and 2. We're live from the London Irish Vintage Show. See if there's any late flights. Get over there. It's a great day out, you know. There's brilliant live music. There's lots of machinery and farm animals and tractors and lorries and all manner of things. And there is an outdoor concert and dancing and all that type of stuff. If you're listening in and around London, do try and get along. But if none of that works for you, then please tune in to the outside broadcast from the fields next Sunday from 12. We've got loads and loads of guests and also celebrating the lives of Donegal people over in London, what they're doing, their amazing achievements, the fantastic work they do in supporting the Irish community, charities, etc. Tiny Vaughan's the man behind all of this, of course, and he's been running this show incredibly successfully for years and years and years, and there's 4 great charities that are going to benefit from it on the day. So we're heading over on Saturday afternoon, and we'll be broadcasting live for you on Sunday from 12 until 2. So if you want to get a sense of what's going on over there, do. We always are sort of tapping up the diaspora and, you know, saying, you know, what are you doing over there? And I love it when we get an opportunity to go over there, you know, and celebrate what they're doing and their lives and their connections with Donegal and the rest of the country. Here's a novel solution to Buncrana Street problem. Why don't council officials forgo their annual St. Patrick's junket and use the money to employ a council street sweeper? Well, that's a different argument. And again, it's a little bit like the farmers and the teachers argument. I think the cost of those trips is greatly reduced, and there is a strong argument for a financial return down the line, and all of the information on those trips is available. I could get shot for sort of, you know, not taking maybe the populist point of view on that, but I have looked at it, and as I say, the people that need to go generally go, and I think at a local level, you know, they are very useful in drawing funds and people back to the county, but we can all agree to disagree on that one, of course.
The Highland Radio Customer Service Awards with McElhenny's Department Store are back. We're honouring the businesses that put customers first, and we want to hear from you. Whether it's your favourite shop, restaurant or service provider, now's the time to give them the recognition they deserve. But hurry, nominations close Monday 8th of September. Don't miss out. The award night takes place on Sunday 5th of October. Nominate now at highlandradio.com.
Got your exam results? Your career starts with Northwest Regional College. Come along to your local Derry London Derry, Strabane or Limavady campus to apply for a course or confirm your place. Choose from our wide range of apprenticeships, level 3 diplomas, foundation degrees and so much more. For more, visit nwrc.ac.uk/results. Northwest Regional College. From here to career.
New this week in Home Store and More. All mattress toppers are all 33% off. But better hurry, because when all our 33% off mattress toppers are gone, they're gone. Also, all painting and DIY accessories and all home office desks and chairs are still all half price. But when all the half price painting and DIY accessories and all the half price home office desks and chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
I do wish Noel would go back to the 22208. The 222 doesn't rhyme as much. I used to look forward to the ad where he went 222.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it is 11 o'clock already. Let's get a news update and welcome back into studio, Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A number of off-road bikes and a quad have been reported as stolen in a burglary at a commercial premises on Melmount Road in Sine Mills. While the incident was reported to police just before 6 o'clock yesterday evening, it's believed the theft occurred sometime over the weekend, possibly during Saturday evening into yesterday morning. In total, 5 bikes were stolen, 3 Yamaha YZ250 strokes, 2 of which are blue, and a blue Yamaha W or 250F and a blue Yamaha 2TT or 110, as well as a blue Yamaha 700 Kodiak quad bike. PSNI are appealing for witnesses. School secretaries and caretakers will continue their strike action for a third day today, with pickets outside several schools in Donegal. Forza says it's due to the failure of the government to engage over the weekend in dispute over pensions. The union says there's no workplace relation commissions process and no talks. Sharon Ward, a school secretary at St Mary's National School in Malin Head, says the importance of their work in schools isn't always recognised. The Central Bank of Ireland will no longer facilitate the scale of Israeli bonds from tomorrow. Its approval for the 2024 prospectus expires today, and Luxembourg has approved the new prospectus for Israeli bonds in the EU. The central bank's role in facilitating the sale of Israeli bonds has been subject to numerous protests in recent months. Police searching for a 15-year-old missing girl from Derry say they're concerned. Whitney McDonough was last seen in the Coolmore area of the city at approximately 9:30 on Saturday evening. It's believed she was going to the city centre. Whitney was last seen wearing a blue jumper, light bleached jeans and high-top Converse trainers. Those who believe they have information are asked to contact the police. And there's a warning there'll be no turkey on the table this Christmas if the haulage industry doesn't find more drivers soon. The Irish Road Haulage Association says 4,000 truck drivers are needed over the next 5 years and is calling for red tape to be cut to speed up the recruitment. And finally, Foyle MP Colm Eastwood has ruled himself out of the race for the Áras. The BBC reports that the former SDLP leader has considered entering his name in the ring, but ultimately has not, concluding it's not the right time for him. Earlier in the summer, the MP said he had concerns that Irish unity was not a focal point for other potential candidates. That's all for now. I'll be back with more at 12 noon.
And have we had any word from the turkeys in relation to it? Because I think, we've a massive woohoo!
Very, very relieved.
I think we'll have turkeys for Christmas, won't we?
Make it exclusive.
Do you think with that first script we might just leave?
Drop the. I think it was your 222s with Noel Cunningham really
we'll just
proving.
go with the bikes and maybe direct people to the website for all the details.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, I think that might be a good idea.
All right, Donna Marie, excellent as always. Thank you very much indeed. All right, it is the 9 till Noon Show here in Highland Radio.
Hey there, looking for car insurance that's simple, fast and comes with a little extra? That's RedClick. You can save an average of €245 when you quote online. Insurance that's easy, insurance that's quick. Whenever you need us, you just need to click. Visit redclick.ie. Discount based on new private car policies from 1st November 24 to 1st February 25. Max discount €300. Apply before optional covers. Subject to minimum premium. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Generali Seguros y Reyes Seguros SAU, trading as RedClick and Generali, is authorised by the General Dictators of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
086 60 25,000. That is our WhatsApp and text. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Okay, Joe Coyle, who's been a guide with the Donegal Camino since its foundation, joins me now. Joe, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear, Greg. Thanks for being with us.
No, I am looking at you literally. It's like a live view. It's the Joe cam of you walking. And you know what? Oh, wow. Well, look at that crowd. Right, describe to me what we're looking at here, Joe, for those listening on the radio.
So this is day 2 of the Donegal Camino, year 5 of the Camino. Day 2, we're actually on plan 3 for today. Originally, we were going to do the Uras Hills, and then we did a slightly lower version. And because of the weather overnight and the forecast, we've gone for a complete road walk from Clonmany to Dunree Fort, where we're going to be hosted by the Donegal Person of the Year. They're just taking a short break. It's been quite damp since we came over the bridge in Clonmany. It's dried up because you're making an appearance. As you can see, fabulous scenery. Inland scenery. We spend a lot of time on the coast on the Camino, but we have fabulous inland scenery of Inishowen here, which I know Peggy Stringer will be delighted to.
It is absolutely gorgeous. And Joe, whilst the fundraising drive is in full earnest, there's been again another brilliant response to this event, which supports Cancer Care West.
Absolutely, it's been fantastic. Obviously, with the rain and everything, numbers are slightly down on the day, but still huge numbers signed up, and we're sort of capped at 100 walkers per day, and we've had the most of that for both of these days, and we're booked in to have that plus guides, etc., over the next couple of days. So it's been very well supported and significant amounts of money coming in. It's not my area, so I'm not quite sure. I saw a number of 70,000 somewhere along the line sometime yesterday. So delighted that that's working so well. And as you know, Greg, you're a significant supporter, and your organisation are significant supporters of Cancer Care West. So the funds raised here, and said repeatedly, go entirely to support not just Cancer Care West, but Cancer Care West facilities in Donegal, which I'm personally delighted to be involved with, because I've had the dubious privilege or honour of being a patient of theirs a number of years ago. So it's really important to me, and really important to people who are on the journey over the next couple of days, because I find that the people that take on this walk, unlike other walks, are here typically for very personal reasons, be it their own medical history or their family history. So as a guide, they're a different group, and beautiful people to work with, and it's really a privilege to be here and to work with them.
And you know what I think is lovely about the people taking part in the walk, Joe? A lot of them are doing it for personal reasons. Some speak about it publicly and happy to do so, and others just keep their counsel. They just do it for themselves. Now, you do amazing work. We spoke to you when you led the Get Your Prostate Checked lads. I still have my T-shirt. I was told I couldn't wear it out one day, and I says, I'm bloody wearing it out. Prostate's not a bad word. So I stuck it out. Went for something to eat in it, if you don't mind. But €17,500 is raised through that initiative. A massive amount of money, which you're donating as well via the Donegal Camino fundraising initiative, Joe, which is remarkable what you achieved there. Not just in terms of money raised, but getting the message out.
Yeah, to be honest, I suppose very briefly, my story is I was accidentally diagnosed with prostate cancer in the back end of 21. I was fortunate to be able to have the option of having surgery in January 22. And 2 days before I went for surgery, I made an agreement with myself that if I was succeeded in getting through that I would do something arduous in Thanksgiving personally. And then it became something much bigger than that. It became about supporting or fundraising, or rather giving people who had an interest in Cancer Care West the opportunity to donate to an I Donate page, which is idonate/Joe Coyle 11, which actually is still open and went up £100 yesterday. So we're happy to take any donations. This is the gang coming towards us now.
I was going to say, Joe, you're a better fundraiser than you're a cameraman. But listen, you're doing a good job for us. That's better now. There we are. We're getting the waves. Okay. And come here. We've got day 2. This is day 2. Day 3 tomorrow, Strabane and Lifford Bridge to Raphoe in the award-winning Oakfield Park. Day 4, sunrise on Errigal. Day 5, the Arranmore Island Loop, which we're taking part in. I can't wait for that. Day 6, the Blue Stack Way, Glenties to Ardra, and then Slieve League, day 7. That's a new route on Saturday. So is there any spaces left at all, Joe? I know there was a couple of dates here or there, but can people check out the website and see if it's not too late?
I think there are spaces available tomorrow. This is Noreen Darcy approaching me, who's the project manager, with whom you'll be familiar.
Hey, Noreen, can you hear me? Are you on headphones?
Looking forward to seeing you in Arranmore. Any spaces left for tomorrow and Errigal?
There are spaces left for tomorrow for Tuesday, and a couple of spaces for Errigal, which will now, I'll officially announce it, we'll be registering at 6:30 in the morning, hiking at 7 a.m. That will be going out on our Facebook page later on today, unless the weather changes. dramatically, and we have another plan. We will be walking all week, rain, hail, or Four Seasons.
All right, brilliant stuff. I'll tell you, Joe, you are the man on the ground. You're reporting, you're doing interviews, you're doing every blooming thing, Joe.
I'll tell you.
Getting
The
us
only thing I
exclusives
can't
and
do,
everything.
Greg, the only thing that's eluded me is I failed to encourage some significant people to join us on the prostate cancer walk. I mean, there was a guy who was going to join us on the Atlantic Drive. I mean, we delayed the walk for 3 hours.
No. Hold on, you, Joe. Now,
We
I
chatted
was
to
on the
gravel
pier.
for a half an
I was
hour.
on the pier in Downings at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I waited till
Aye,
half 4.
Show me the photograph. Show me the photograph.
And Greg, just pass on to a lovely lady in the academy in Ballyreen. I will need a blow dry again at the end of the week.
Well, we'll sort that out for you. Ashley will look after you. Don't worry. I'm still trying to convince her to join us on Thursday, but we'll see. Listen, thank you very much, everyone. Joe,
Thank you.
You know, the smiles on people's faces, the lovely...
That's you.
All right, see you soon.
Yeah.
The
Fair
smiles
play.
on people's faces and all, it's wonderful to see. I cannot wait for Thursday, Joe.
They're
Keep
a
up the good
beautiful
work.
They're a beautiful bunch of people. Thank you again.
Okay,
for your-
Slan,
for your-
take care. No, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. I'm not cutting him off there, but he was already very nice to us, and I can only take so much of that. Right, okay, so we are doing the Ironmore Loop on Thursday, 16 kilometres. Will you share out my GoFundMe at the moment? Because, listen, the target's really, really low, but I'd like to head over there with $1,000 in my pocket just to give to Cancer Care West. You know, I've got 35... I've got close on 70,000 people following me on social media. I've got a massive audience that we do here on Highland Radio. If everyone give 50 cent, we'd be flying. But they're not giving 50 cents. So please, I need it. I need to take some money to earn more. If you can support us, please go on to my Facebook page. Just search Greg Hughes. The I Donate link is at the top. It's a very modest target, but please give me something. If you want to go onto the Highland Hub Facebook page, we'll post it there right now as well. Or just search Greg Hughes on I Donate, and all of the money, every single shilling, is going to Cancer Care West. And you know, the money's great, but also us talking about it. And I want to speak to you directly if you have had a cancer diagnosis, or you're waiting on news of maybe you're waiting on news of some test results. Maybe you've been told that, you know, you've just been told you've got cancer. You're waiting to be referred, or you're waiting on a treatment plan, and you didn't realise it's weeks and weeks and weeks. You thought, right, I'll get this diagnosis and I'm going to start my fight straight away. And then you get this devastating news that you might have to wait 3 months or something. I don't know. It depends. But that's what Cancer Care West are for, part of what they're for down in Letterkenny as well. Give them a buzz. You know, maybe you're post-cancer and everyone around you is going, yeah, mom's cancer-free or dad's cancer-free. But inside you're afraid that, you know, what if it comes back? You know, I still don't feel great after the treatment, but I can't let my family down because they would be, you know, they all think everything's rosy in the garden, and you're carrying that burden, and you feel that, you know, you should feel different I'm just trying to talk of scenarios. Speak to the people down at Cancer Care West in Letterkenny, and speak to other people. Go in for a cup of coffee. Don't even say why. Call in, have a cup of coffee, and, you know, get some support, because sometimes everyone around us doesn't exactly get how we feel, and there's no need for you to feel alone in that regard. There's never a wrong time to sort of reach out and get some support in this area. I hope I've spoken to one or two of you that might be encouraged. It's a beautiful, family, welcoming environment. Divulge as much or a little as you like. Have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and all the money being raised right now is to keep those services going, to keep the lights on, to keep the roof over, to keep the amazing staff in situ down there. They do fantastic work. I hope you never have to find out the work that they do, because that would mean that neither you, anyone close to you, or any of your family would ever get cancer. But sadly, unfortunately, we know it's that pathetic, horrible disease that affects 1 in 2 of us, but it affects all of us by proxy. We're always going to have someone close to us with cancer, if not ourselves. So please, if you can, support us in supporting them. Go to my Facebook page, Greg Hughes, and you can donate there, please. I think I've pinned it at the top of the page, or we have shared it on our Facebook page here. Or if you give us a ring, we can process it. 086 60 25,000. 07491 25,000. If you want to ring, we can sort something out there as well. If you wish to make a donation, I'd really, really appreciate it. idonate.ie /fundraiser /Greg Hughes 1. And as I say, we'd love to contribute $1,000 or so, or even more. We did 6 last year. I kind of was late to the party. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that unless you really get generous. But I'll give Katie the login details here if you wanted to give us a ring and we can process something there. I'm sorry to always... Well, I never ask, actually. I never ask. I was going to say I'm sorry to be... I never ask. You know. All right, listen. I think I've begged enough there. I'll leave it at that. Thanks so much to Joe Cole coming on. As I say, I can't wait to get over to Ironmore on Thursday to just be a part of it, really. To just sort of... The feeling. We did Ards last year, and it was just lovely. We were told, actually, that it was a gentle little wander through the trees. And as it turned out, it was quite an arduous but beautiful hike. I managed it. With fingers crossed I'll manage Ironmore. All right, let me take a break. We'll be back with way much more after these messages.
Monster Bingo every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel. €3,300 must go with €1,000 on the last page. Doors open 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo this and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
Get ready for the Donegal League at Brian McCormick Sports. BMC teamwear, mitre training or match balls. View the value packs online at bmcsports.ie. Training equipment, water bottles, have them delivered or call in store. Brian McCormick Sports, sponsor of Donegal League Premier Division.
Attention students, TFI Local Link bus services available nationwide can connect you to a wide range of colleges all year round. Save up to 50% on cash fares when you use your TFI Young Adult or Student Leap Card. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you.
All across Ireland, music fills cafes, salons, offices, gyms and restaurants. It creates a vibe, makes people smile. It might even turn a 4-star review into a 5. Music can lift moods, boost sales and improve staff morale. Whether your business plays background radio or a curated playlist, you need a music licence. It ensures music creators are fairly paid for their work. Buy your licence today at imro.ie/pay now. Because music drives business.
Frozen berry blast, please. You all right, love?
Do you know what I've done?
What have you done?
Do you see Pete sleeping over there? I got the sun cream and I've only gone and drawn it on his back.
I love it, really. But that's not Pete.
Oh, then who?
Oh, very funny.
Avoid having the wrong kind of fun in the sun. At Specsavers, get 2-for-1 designer glasses, including sunglasses, from €130 with single vision lenses to the same prescription. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now is 18 minutes past 11. You're welcome back to the programme. I'm joined on it now by Aintu representative in Donegal, Mary T. Sweeney. Mary T., hopefully you can hear me okay. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, listeners.
Right, you have called a public meeting seeking for solutions to the ongoing issues of traffic in Letterkenny. Traffic chaos, as some would describe it. We were chatting to one business owner last week who said it's really had a significant impact on their business. But I think up until now, the business community has been pretty quiet on the issue. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing the opposite. I'm hearing the commuters in particular I'm talking to, and it was they that came to me and they asked me, is there any way that we can do something to try and highlight the real concerns and the stress levels that's affecting the drivers in the morning and the children and the people going to start their day at work and at school, and everybody's starting on an alerted high because they're so stressed to estimate how long it's going to take them to get to work.
Yeah, and do they feel that their frustrations are being, falling on deaf ears?
Totally. That's the feedback I'm getting. That's why they're coming to me, because they want me to try and escalate their concerns. This is not supporters of me. These are just the general public have come to me and said, would you please do something, because we can't stand it any longer. We need support. We need our council to listen, and they're not listening.
Is there anything can be done, really? Because let's face it, it seems the only show in town is the 10T project. You can see the influence of that project on other initiatives that are taking place, like trying to encourage more people to walk or cycle. Money's being spent in that regard, but it's all with one eye on eventually, the 10T project and that relief bridge. So between now and then, honestly, do you think anything can be done to alleviate people's strife?
Well, Greg, there's a few points here. There's several points here, and they're all very important. One of the first things I'm going to say is we're squandering money hand over foot here on plans every 6 years. I'm looking at these plans for the last 25 years that are saying the same thing over and over. Different companies are being employed to redo plans that another company has previously done. In my opinion, that gives the company less control over the plan.
Yeah, I've lost you there. Hopefully that connection will come back. I'll come back to Mary T on this.
Unless account
all right. Sorry, I have.
The reality.
Yeah, sorry. You're on mobile data, Mary T. So it's slipping in and out.
Do you want me to slip onto go onto the Zoom on the computer?
Yeah. I'll tell you. Yes, do that, and I'll come back to you because there are some important points that you're making. So I'll come back to you in a moment in relation to that. Okay, that's Mary T. Sweeney. If you want to get involved in that conversation, get in touch with us right now. 086 60 25,000, because what we're going to be getting to in the next part of the conversation is what actually can be done in between now and the relief bridge that everybody knows that we need, and so on and so forth. So as I say, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text. Mary T, sorry, that's actually was my fault. I have you there now. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Yep, that's coming in now very, very shortly. Just have to join with audio. Right, so Mary T, you were about to tell us, you say money's being spent hand over fist, report after report. What do you think can be done between now and the arrival of this some see it as a white elephant, this 10T project, to alleviate the problems?
First of all, we need to identify the short-term solutions and the long-term solutions. And my suggestion that the people are saying to me, these are coming from the ground up, and that is yellow boxes at some of the junctions. Basically, the bottom of the Smolaghan, the connection with the Lek Road, which is a major concern in the mornings getting in there. A simple, actually putting a pedestrian crossing would slow the traffic down and give the houses that are trying to get out onto the traffic time to get out onto the traffic. A digital time zoning on the Lek Road to reduce the speed. They have put 2 ramps up there, but there need other areas that those slow ramps could slow down the traffic and allow people then to access onto the road. But things like the yellow boxes and the enforcement of the yellow boxes.
But does that might make it easier for local traffic to get around? Every action has a reaction. So if you slow the general movement of traffic, Mary T, that is going to be felt elsewhere in Letterkenny on approach roads, etc. We know, like, one car breaking down effectively can almost bring Letterkenny to a standstill. Are you not concerned that slowing cars down, stopping cars with yellow boxes, etc., could actually exacerbate the problem elsewhere?
Greg, my honest opinion on this is, if you want an example of bad planning, not alone. BBC in 2012 gave an example from the Taschke report, an extensive Taschke report all over Ireland, and Donegal County Council stood out as a -F, the lowest grade in planning. We had over 150,000 hectares of land zoned for planning, yet the planning happened on 50% of land that wasn't even zoned. So they're going through box ticking exercises. The council's not working the way it's supposed to work. They're not listening to the people, the communities and the concerns. We're producing these Letterkenny plan and local transport plans, and they're ticking all the boxes on paper, but they're not listening to the people in reality. When you talk about infrastructural development, they're developing zones south of the River Swilly at the moment, hand over fist. There's not a creche, there's not a community centre, there's no zoning to allow for an additional access apart from the Old Town Bridge to get over into the main town, unless you drive back out to the Port Bridge or drive out to New Mills. The lack of planning is horrendous, and I cannot blame planners. So I can only blame that Donegal County Council officials are holding the planners to account and not giving them the skills that they have to allow them to remediate for poor planning that's been done. Somebody is stopping the planners from planning. and from taking their work out practically into the community. And we have got to ask the question, who is doing that? We're on a plan at the moment, Greg, for a 2024 town plan, and they're going on facts that were written in 2018. The facts that they're basing the 2024 plan on, Greg, were gathered in 2018.
Big changes
There's been
since
some
then.
changes since then. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, but the meeting on Wednesday evening, it's at the Hideout Bar in Old Town Letterkenny at 7:30 p.m. this Wednesday coming. Who's going to be at it? Like, are you looking to hear the concerns of the public, or public representatives, or anyone from the council invited? Like, what is this meeting on Wednesday about, beyond obviously the problem with the traffic?
Well, the residents have asked me to try and bring them together. I have a bigger picture here because I am from Letterkenny. And the problem is we have lost in Letterkenny a very valuable asset. And it probably was most emotionally shown when the Letterkenny reunion closed down. That sense of community. And our council is so busy that they're not seeing the bigger picture. They're not seeing how we're losing community. We're losing that sense of involvement in community. Everybody now has, like, they're in running or they're in football, but the actual community centres that people need to go in and out of to get to know the people living beside them, the creches, the zoning, we're not developing that the way we should be for proper infrastructure. And we're definitely not developing a roads network. So I'm over 20 years looking at the Lek Road being developed. And the reality is there's still random chaos, what BBC and Antasha called chaotic planning, still evident in Letterkenny. And nobody can deny that. We've all heard about the courses in architecture citing us as being an example of bad planning. We need to stop it and say, we've made mistakes. We need to change our tactic. We need to say who's responsible for not allowing qualified planners, designers, not doing their job, because they're well able to do it. I have every confidence in the people we have employed as planners. Who's stopping them? Why are they not being allowed? I'm inviting people.
That's what I was saying. I'm not in any way sort of saying your point of view is not valid. I do believe the town Letterkenny is being developed and built now with 10, 15, 20, 30 years in mind, i.e. when a lot of the traffic is taken out of the town, with the 10T project, with the bridge over the Swilly, etc. There's lots of traffic that will never see Letterkenny. And my feeling is that the planning is with that in mind rather than, what would fix problems right now.
I haven't followed this very tightly, but if you're basing planning on a 2018 information, you're up to date.
Okay, well, we'll have to get confirmation.
It's a failed plan to start with. Now, I would be inviting people from all over the community to come together to show community spirit, and I will be asking people to walk with me that want to see the extensive cracking on the old town. And I'm inviting you, Greg. Please go down in your free time and carefully walk the bridge.
I did walk over from Old Duns and look at it after our last conversation. I know exactly where you're coming from. As much as you can see, I think really the telling signs, which I didn't see, are from underneath, because that's a look at the fans effectively.
Even it depends on the light, Greg, in fairness. And when you walk it, even yesterday, I was on it last night again, and actually when you see it in the middle of the grid, cracks on both sides, both sides in the middle of the bridge, and I get a letter from our council saying it's to do with a car crash. Absolutely nothing to do with the car crash.
Right, okay, so the first the meeting in the first instance, September 3rd, 7:30 p.m. Next to the Hideout Bar in Old Town Letterkenny. Okay, that's the gathering point.
People can park over at the Now Dock Centre and that, where there's room up along there, and just walk down. We're gathering there, and as we're going to try and get people together to get a committee up and running, we need the community to learn to be a community, come together, and let's address this, because the only answers will be achieved with community support.
Thanks so very much indeed. That's Mary T. Sweeney and Ain't Too Rep in Donegal. A caller says, Greg, where is the Cancer Care Centre in Letterkenny? Pat, sorry, I should have mentioned. It's on the Pierce Road next door, next to the back entrance of Sister Sarah's pub. So you can, there's a hole in the wall effectively where you can drive in there. It's upstairs there, but there's lifts and all. It's perfectly accessible. So if you're looking on from the furniture shop, it's to the left of Sister Sarah's. The best of good luck to the Donegal Camino. That's from John Wilkie. Brilliant cause indeed, John. Getting prostate check awareness, like other checks, very important, but getting to Galway is not so easy. Getting there, a place to stay, and costs involved, and that's why we've been fighting so hard for a surgical hub that hopefully would assist in areas like this, especially with the additional services available for that. We're so aware of that. We have to keep getting things checked, and if it's hard work getting treatment, we're just going to have to endure that until such time as the facilities are upgraded at LUH, and we shorten that period of time by keeping the pressure on the powers that be to fulfil their promises as it relates to Letterkenny University Hospital. So it might not be for me or you, listener, but hopefully for our kids, they'll have a far better health service up here. No farmers, no food. They are substituting our food with mealworm flour. Ireland at all costs should be able to feed its own country. Yeah, indeed. And hold on to it rather than it being taken from us and forcing a famine. But yeah, listen, there's no point us not producing beef and taking beef in from Poland. Love the Polish, don't get me wrong, but they can eat their beef. We don't need Brazilian or Polish beef when we have the best beef in the world here. Good man, Phelan, top representative, says a listener. Another end of the day, the farm payments coming will be cut. All the different things they put out there is a way to say we will be cutting in the next cap. There will be cuts in the next cap. Yeah, I just think even across Europe, it's going to be survival of the fittest, and the countries and the farmers within those countries that can do it profitably with the less amount of supports from the EU are the ones that will survive. And I believe sometimes brilliant people like Phelan trying to keep the issue on the table. I think the damage has already been done and now it's being felt. And that's how it feels. And I'm not saying it's national government. I don't know where it is, EU government, whatever it might be. Who's to say? All right, our next guest in studio with me after these.
You know, says I to Mr. Brennan, I think we've a ghost. A ghost, says he. That's right, says I. The Brennan's family pan keeps vanishing. Well, says he, with bread baked fresh every day, with real quality and great taste, that's no mystery at all. True for you, says I. With bread that good, I'd make a few slices vanish myself. That's why anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread, today.
Are you female, currently unemployed and looking for a new career in construction? Rural Enterprise SkillNet is delighted to announce the next Women in Construction programme commencing September 22nd in Letterkenny. For more information or to apply, visit ruralenterpriseskillnet.ie. Closing date for applications is September 4th with interviews on September 5th. This Rural Enterprise SkillNet programme is co-funded by the Government of Ireland and the European Union.
Join me, Marty Friel, every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7. Enjoy Laser Quest, soft play, darts or a game of pool before dining in their fast food diner or family restaurant. See arena7.ie.
This week only, get a free upgrade to Loganair's Fly Flex Fare. Enjoy a larger 23 kilo hold luggage allowance, increased change flexibility and collect more Avios, all at no extra cost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Book by 9th July, travel from 1st August. Booking changes may incur additional fees. Book today at loganair.co.uk.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
On this morning's Monday Focus, we talked to Paul Murray, Donegal Coordinator for the National Campaign for the Arts. Paul, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Lovely to be here, Greg.
Right, now, this campaign is for a permanent scheme to provide a basic income for artists. And of course, this is a pre-budget conversation because the budget's about to be happening. So why do you think it's important to provide artists with a basic income?
Quite basically because we are quite underfunded throughout the arts in general. So it's very much kind of a fair pay sort of a scheme in what we see. So I guess to give a bit of a background to actually what the basic income for the arts is, in 2022, Catherine Martin brought it in a pilot scheme for 2,000 artists. There were 2,000 artists who got onto the scheme, and then there was just under 1,000 artists who were part of a focus group as well. So they all fed into that research for the last 3 years.
Whether or not it becomes permanent.
Yeah, pretty much so. So, that was to come to an end this month. It has been extended on to February 2026.
Is it for the same pool of artists it's been extended for, as far as we're aware?
Yeah, it is. It is those 2,000 that are in scheme. But the current minister now wants, from the research of those last 3 years, wants to make it a fully realised scheme for a broader sense of our artists.
Do we have any idea, if it was to be extended broadly, how many artists we could be talking about? I mean, how do we know? Because there are qualifying criteria. It'd be impossible, really, I suppose, to have a number.
There is to have an exact number. And I guess what the department are working on at the minute is what the fully realised scheme would look like, what that criteria would be. For the pilot scheme, I think there was around 12,000 applicants for it. 8,000 fitted the criteria for it, and then that was a lottery system down to the 2,000.
Okay. Well, what this weekly fee basically covers is artists who are producing original material, whether it's songwriting, writing work like poetry, artists, sculptors, performers, people who are producing and writing plays, and actors as well, of course. And it's a fixed basic weekly income of €325.
It is.
So I presume that is what's determined to be enough to keep the wolf from the door, so that you can focus on creation and any supplementary income that might come from that?
It is, and it's it doesn't keep the wolf that far from the door.
No, I was thinking
he's still scratching at the door.
Maybe what it's designed for.
But it's just to give you that breathing space. And from the people, like, I suppose for the listeners, I'm not on the scheme.
Okay.
I didn't get. I did apply for the scheme, but I wasn't selected for it. So I don't have that vested interest in that I wanted to continue.
But were you in the lotto?
Myself. But, sorry?
Were you in the 8,000?
I was in the 8,000.
Right, okay,
yeah,
so you
yeah,
would
I did qualify. I would qualify for it. But that €325, it's very small, but from the people I've talked to who actually got on the pilot scheme, the changes that it had made to their life, just that level of security that I suppose... For me, it kind of nearly brought a tear to my eye, some of the stories. Some of the people were very much on their mental health, they were down even close to suicide in points, and it kind of brought them back from there and gave them their life back. They felt a sense of gratitude for getting onto the scheme and things like that. But I
wonder, in terms of this becoming a permanent feature and being expanded, what's the KPIs? You know, like that's the thing that we might struggle. Like, so how can you? Are they measuring the output of those that have been on the pilot scheme? Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Well, they
it's
have
a difficult one to articulate the argument. Say this is working, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give individual testimony, right? But I mean, this would be ended up being a multi-million euro thing. So
it will. Yeah.
So what do we know in that space in terms of how they're judging it?
Well, they how they're judging it so far is I suppose a lot of the people on the scheme and feeding into the scheme for the last 3 years were given that direct feedback on the amount of time that they're actually being able to devote to their work, and how much percentage-wise their work actually output increased over that period.
Because the in terms of art, sorry to cut across you, Paul, the value is not just monetary.
No.
It's cultural.
It is.
It's tied in with tourism.
Absolutely.
Creativity.
It is.
Lots of different spaces. So it's not necessarily about pounds, pence and shillings,
no,
or euros, cents and whatever.
And I suppose to the general public, it's very hard to kind of get that message across because the arts doesn't so much act as the same as a normal business, if you know what I mean. It's not the buy and sell sort of a thing. People get a hell of a lot more out of it. I suppose it's what makes us human.
It's not transactional in a traditional sense.
Not so much. But so that's why we feel that this campaign, that if the basic income does come in, It will help us produce more. It will be out in the public more. As I was saying, from people I know who are on the scheme, they felt an awful sense of giving back. So they actually, in their own communities throughout the county, they did writing workshops, they did art classes for free, or to marginal areas of society as well.
And
so there was an element of giving back.
You know, I mean, obviously we're all individuals, right? But if you're involved in the arts and supporting other artists, supporting your community, trying to encourage people it's part of, I think, for a lot of people being an artist, without trying to pigeonhole or stereotype people, it's not universal, but I think you're far more inclined. So it does make sense to me that there's been an uplift sort of in terms of the artists on this scheme, trying to engage others or support communities or give options to others.
It is, absolutely. And I suppose it's not so much of a payment thing. It would be more of an arts infrastructure thing, if you know what I'm saying. We're building, like, internationally, we sell ourselves as the land of saints and scholars, but we're not paying the scholars. Mm-hmm. There's very few of the scholars who are making a living. So if we're selling ourselves internationally on that front, then we need to put our money where our mouth is. Do you know what I mean? So we need to invest in that grassroots, the professional artists, writers, performers across the board in the arts, and actually say, you count. Do you know what I mean? You actually have, you contribute to society, and without you, we wouldn't have a massive element of our lives would be missing.
But people who make, no, it's fine, Paul. People who make that decision have to get that, though, because there are competing priorities, right? So you can allocate the money for this to something else, and everyone would go, yay, that's fantastic. And you could allocate the money to this project, for an example. And artists and those in the arts would get it right, but maybe to the wider public, it's a more difficult sell to the benefits of it.
It is,
and I suppose that's why we're having conversations like this.
And I think from the research for the past 3 years, there is that knock-on effect that how does it benefit the exchequer? Really, is what it comes down to whenever the Jack Chambers.
Yeah, but
is
some of the
making
benefits here you cannot put on a spreadsheet.
No, you can't. But we've had to, as artists, move into that business territory to sell this. The other benefits will come in kind, but yes, we've had to make that sell to the department. We don't want the money to come away from the Arts Council of Ireland or any other funding across the arts sector. So this should be separate. But getting back to what you're saying, there's kind of that knock-on effect where social welfare, it takes people away from those benefits. It benefits the health service because people's mental health is picked up. So there's lots of minor knock-on effects that not having this would have on the exchequer. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of drawn from that pool to show that actually people will cost more money this way than they will the other way.
The minister that introduced this is no longer in that portfolio.
No.
What's the mood music coming from Patrick O'Donovan's office?
Patrick O'Donovan has publicly given the 2 thumbs up for this. So he has. He wants this as part of the budget, and he is fully gung-ho for it. He's proposing it for the budget. So what our campaign actually is to get his government colleagues to, in the next couple of weeks now in government talks, to back the basic income.
Has it been costed at all?
It has. Yeah, it has. It approximately, we're talking about 134 million.
Per year?
Per year.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're chatting probably between 8 and 10,000 artists would be on this scheme.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose in the wider scale of a multi-billion euro budget,
yes,
that's not that big amount of money, though it is astronomical too at the same time, but it's the value of it. It's about,
yes, it is the value.
You know, I'm not saying every artist is necessarily working in the area of our culture or our language or whatever, but an awful lot of them are, and I don't think it's necessarily a massive investment, especially if you were to sort of offset against how many of those might be on social welfare in any case, or whatever it might be. Okay.
And for artists, a lot of our work is done for free. Do you know what I mean? We're kind of very undervalued because the arts is so underfunded. it's one of the most frustrating things of being an artist, because you're constantly people are always, that'd be a great experience. Oh, it'd be a great for your portfolio. And look, my portfolio and a great experience doesn't feed my kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, selling work and getting paid for the work that I do does.
If you want to learn more about what we've been talking about, you can go to scfa.ie. There's a Facebook page there, of course. You can go on Facebook and Instagram and check out @Campaign for Arts, and the 4 is the digit 4. Or if you want more information from Paul, it's info@paulmoriartist.com.
Yes.
And really, the purpose of a conversation like this is to try and let other people understand that if they agree with you, you know, you can contact your local rep. It costs you nothing, right? And you can say, listen,
nothing.
I would really be inclined to vote for you again if you would support the arts, do you know?
Absolutely, and that's what we're asking people
and
to.
it really is
to contact.
Requires very little effort and
very
cost.
little effort. It's a matter of a couple of minutes. I have a template email and stuff like that there for people. So it's very much just people to contact our local TDs or local government TDs who will be at the budget table and saying to them that basically, I think this is a good idea, and to push for it in budget talks in the next couple of months.
Okay, so what are you working on yourself at the moment?
I am working on this, and
of course, actually, you know,
this week
you have to throw yourself at it, don't you?
You do for a couple of weeks, but hopefully it'll be worthwhile. Myself, I don't have any shows this year. It'll probably be next year before I have a couple of shows. I do. Not every day is a painting day. And in the world of an artist, that's one of the things that people have to realise. I don't sit there painting every day from morning till night.
Did you say you've got children?
I do, 2 grown-up children.
Oh, right, okay, grown-up. All right,
yeah,
that's okay.
no, well, I say grown-up, they're 21 and 22, so
right.
yeah.
They're never fully grown up.
They're never fully grown up. One's a dancer and one's a drummer as well, and my
brilliant.
missus plays piano, so we're an artistic household. So,
sure.
Well, we keep the wolf from the door.
Getting through it.
He
scrapes a bit.
It scrapes big time. It scrapes big time.
Listen,
but anyway,
brilliant.
we're not complaining
Christmas
about
is
that.
around your house. Will be good crack.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Thanks so very much indeed.
Thanks, Greg.
That is Paul Murray, Donegal coordinator for the National Campaign for the Arts. You can get more information by emailing info@paulmoriartist.com. There are templates available. I think if you can scribble something down yourself in an email or even use AI, I've heard ministers in the past sort of poo-pooing or casting shade on emails that come in at the same format an awful lot, which I wouldn't want to give anyone. I get where you're coming from and why you have them, but if you can...
It's just as a backup, but I've been asking people to send personal emails of their own personal stories.
Lines.
Absolutely, 2 lines, exactly.
Yeah. But if you want that template, is there.
Yeah.
Check out @Campaign for the Digit 4 Arts on Instagram or Facebook for more information. As I say, back in them, it costs you nothing. It's just a little email, and you never know, it might help.
They say time equals money, so spend your money where you spend your time. No matter what your preference is, Cooney's Home Interiors has something to suit every taste and budget. With our extensive range of home furnishing to fit every room and style, from mattresses and beds to rugs, mirrors and suites of furniture. Visit us in store today and see for yourself what Cooney's have to offer, and let us help you make your dream home a reality. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny Retail Park. Huge range, great prices.
Real savings are adding up with Super Value. Pick up 12 bottle boxes like Budweiser and Peroni, perfect for the good weather, from €14. Treat yourself to a red, white or rosé wine, €8 each. Or enjoy our wine of the month, Villa Maria Blush Sauvignon Blanc, only €10, giving you more change in your pocket. Super Value. Real savings, real difference. Please drink responsibly.
You've got experience. Now it's time to build on it. With Skills to Advance, get the tools to grow with flexible, tailor-made courses in areas like AI, digital skills, sustainability, technology, leadership and management. They're short, practical and low cost. So whether you're looking to step up, switch paths or stay sharp, this is your next move. Contact your local education and training board or visit skillstoadvance.ie. Skills to Advance. Boost skills, boost business. Supported by Solus and the Government of Ireland.
Oh, Ciara, congratulations. Look at her tiny fingers. She's beautiful, just like her mammy.
Oh, thank you.
Have you got a name yet?
Well, we're thinking
She's going to call her Brooklyn. Brooklyn, Massachusetts, Phoenix, Arizona.
Your vote is your voice, so if you don't speak up, someone else is deciding for you.
Baltimore, Kentucky, Murphy, O'Neill.
Who is that?
Hospital porter. Just back from his American road trip.
Make sure you're registered to vote. Go to checktheregister.ie and be a voter so that it's your voice that's heard. From Comisiún Tábhachtán, Ireland's Independent Electoral Commission.
Oh, Brookie must juicy come to Auntie Hannah.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenny's. With new season styles arriving daily, discover the latest fashion, footwear and accessories for autumn in store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
A mostly cloudy and rather breezy day with blustery showers and occasional sunny spells. Some of the showers will be heavy this afternoon. Temperatures 14 to 17 degrees. We're joined on the programme now by MEP Cynthia Nimurchu. Good morning, Cynthia. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to have you with us, Cynthia. Now, we've been talking actually quite a bit over the last 10 days about the dangers of our roads, and the terrible loss of life, and also focusing on, over-representation of certain demographics. But listen, we'd love it to be zero. We need to get closer to that. What are you calling for in an attempt to try and, reduce the number of deaths on our roads?
Get tough, really. Get clever. Look, there are so many people now that are being caught doing excessive speed. But I think we need a greater concentration of speed vans at accident black spots and on our rural roads where the speeding is dramatically impacting our road safety. And in recent years, Greg, we've had a stretch of road close to in my own home county, close to where I live on the N80. It's the main artery between the M9 motorway and Rosslare Europort, known as Ballantrae. And unfortunately, Greg, there's been a number of fatalities, predominantly young people, particularly in 2024. Now, thankfully, the road has been realigned. There is a lot of useful safety signage and so forth. But not before its time, and not unfortunately before we saw a number of deaths. We know in 2024 that overall in Ireland 174 people died on our roads, and we know as of August 27 this year in 25, Greg, we have seen that toll at 111. So we've a long way to go. Out of that 111 deaths as well, let's not forget about our pedestrians. There were 23 pedestrians, 21 motorcyclists, and 10 were on bicycles. So we really need to look at the accident black spots, and they are predominantly, obviously, on rural roads, country roads, that are not of sufficient quality and of sufficient width and camber and so forth. But also in our urban areas, because of course, a car travelling at 65 kilometres per hour can inflict fatal damage.
Yeah,
on
there's a couple
pedestrians.
of things, Cynthia, if you don't mind me saying. First and foremost, no one talks about this, which I really find quite remarkable, or at least I haven't heard anyone talk about it. Google, which is based here in Ireland, actively tells people where speed vans are. Through its app and through Waze. So what's the point? What is the point? Anyone who has a phone or anyone who has a smart screen in their car are being told where the speed vans are anyway. So what's the point of more of them when we've got multi-billion euro companies based in Ireland telling people where they are?
Yeah, I'm calling for a crackdown on the detection of anybody with those types of devices in their cars.
It's just Google Maps or Waze. It's Google Maps or Waze. Sorry, Cynthia, I'm not on about things that pick up lasers. I'm on about Google Maps and Waze, which Google owns, flagging where speed checks are. It's not technology within the car. It's Google that's providing this information. Now, it's user generated, but they're platforming it, and it's a selling point of their product.
No, you're absolutely quite right. But I am calling for speed vans in particular to be assigned to areas where it is known.
Okay, I get you. But just they will still be identified by Google and told to drivers so they can slow down as they approach them and then put the foot down once they leave them. That to me seems to be a significant problem here.
I think you're right, Greg. But I think the problem has been highlighted. You were saying that you didn't notice too many people talking about this, but we did see the Crow report referring to that independent review of roads policing quite recently, published in August actually of this year, only last month. And it was very troubling and deeply troubling to me, and that's why this press release was issued by me. But it obviously identified a minority of demotivated officers and issues issues with organisational issues like recruitment and retention and resource shortages, leading to a reduced workforce. But it raised huge concerns for me about the integrity and the effectiveness of roads policing in Ireland. So for repeat offenders, Greg, I think we need to have a suspension of their licence. I think they also need to be told you must re-educate before you get your licence back. And that means you're off the road until you prove that you have done this re-education course. And I think there is a commitment in the 25 programme for government with regards to enhanced driver training and introduction of re-education courses. But you're quite right. Look, the use of AI is going to have to be caught up on, so to speak. But overall, and we may never catch up, but we have to really readdress this with re-education. People have to realise that if you speed, you'll have to pay. You'll have to pay a fine, you'll have to pay in penalty points, and then you'll be not only put off the road, but suspended. If you're a repeat offender speeding all the time, you will be suspended, or your licence
But you will do through the penalty point system. I mean, the figures you've released, 32 million collected over 10 months countrywide, 1 million in Donegal over that 30-month period. People are being spotted speeding all of the time, but we're not seeing a change in driving behaviour, you know.
Yes.
And if you're determined
Yes.
to speed, as I mentioned, there are free tools available for you to avoid, for the most part, speed checks. So
yes, and Greg, I suspect also there's a grain of truth in what you've just said there about people are being fined, but the corollary question is, are they paying the fines? And of course, from previous research that I did with regards to the district courts being able to execute on foot of orders, fines orders, there is a difficulty there as well. So there is a culture out there which is literally giving the two fingers. And that's why I'm saying that we really need to reappraise where our speeding vans are going and why are they being operated as a loss. Now, there was a certain programme ran out in England a number of years ago whereby the local authority and the local Metropolitan Police came together, and the monies that they garnered from the fines or gathered from the fines were spent directly by them. In other words, decisions were made by the local police and the local authorities because they knew in a lot of cases, the police authorities, they know who the offenders are, repeat offenders in the main.
Cynthia,
and that is something we should be looking at.
We should be doing pilots. We need to try something. Cynthia, sorry to cut across you, but I must go as we're approaching the top of the hour. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you very much for your time. That's MEP Cynthia Nimorhu there. Did you agree, disagree? 08660 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. That's pretty much where we have to leave it on the show today. Thank you so much. I don't know what it was like for you, but the 3 hours certainly flew for me. And we're back to do it all again, God willing, from 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So for me, Greg Hughes, and researcher and producer Caroline Orr and Katie working on